Okay.
Friend, I'm from Oyala, so that color
Let him talk, I beg, Rudolph.
All right, one man. Ayo says
all right. So thank you, Ayo, and thank you, Rudolph, for having me. I only really came on really because of Franklin, who I'm hopeful to address, and I hope I have the space to address him. And I want to ask you a question, Franklin, and I want you to address it. So I don't want to hear what Voltaire has to say. I don't want to hear what Jorgen Haberman or I'm asking you. You've already set the backdrop with all of the books you used to line your backstage, so we know what you're projecting. So I'm asking you frontally, not Achebe, not Voltaire, not Confucius, you. So I'm painting you a scenario. Because really, what's led us to this space is a guy called Chinedu Rosevivor, and I only call him Chinedu Rosevivor because that was on his campaign poster when he wanted to be senator just as early as 2019. Anybody can Google it, you'll see it's all over the internet. So this conversation really comes into play because a guy called Chinedu Rosevivor, who cannot speak a lick of the Yoruba language, he is aspiring to be the governor of Lagos State. And that doesn't sit with the culture. It does not sit with the culture. Whether the rights and wrongs of it, we are Yoruba people and we're of a particular way. And it does not sit with the culture. The Nigerian constitution, whatever, it does not sit with the culture. That a person that cannot speak an ounce, a lick of the Yoruba word, but fluent, by the way, in Anambra dialect of Igbo, so it does not sit with the culture. So it does not sit with the culture. And, all of this pushback now that Lagos is no man's land, it's a narrative that comes from your quarters, and we have heard it endlessly, and we have heard it enough. So I think people conflate the Yoruba mild-mannered Omoluabi way as a form of weakness. And the biggest fool alive is the person that conflates the Yoruba mild-mannered ways, because we are I don't know if you know why we call ourselves Omoluabis. That's a civilized person. The Yoruba language is too nuanced to translate directly into English, but the sum total of the Omoluabi philosophy that underpins the Yoruba ideology is a civilized person. So don't conflate that civilized manner as weakness and then come into our space. We accommodate you. We give you the fat of the land to live fat. And then you tell us that our land is no man's land. Lagos is Yoruba land, though. It has an Oba who sits on the throne. Lagos is Yoruba land. So there has to be clarity on that. But the question I really wanted to ask you, frankly, and like I said, I'm not asking Confucius or whoever, I'm asking you. So please don't philosophize and no straw man, you. So don't give me any straw man narrative. If an Igbo man called Muyiwa or Kafo wants to be the governor of your home state, wherever it is within that region, does not speak a word of Igbo, has all of his leanings and affiliations are is maternally Yoruba, paternally Igbo, Muyiwa or Kafo, he wants to be the governor of whichever state in the east, knowing, as we all know, how insular and clannish that region is. Will he even get to the first step to buy a form? So that is to you, Franklin.
My brother, I will really push back, because the questions you just bundle up a lot of overgeneralizations that are quite untenable, and then push them as a question. If you're asking me a question, you should have to come at me like an intelligent man, because that question, at the tail end of it, it sounded less intelligent than I expected from you.
Well, yeah, address it nevertheless.
Listen, I gave you time to talk. Allow me to now address your question, because it's so very unnerving and annoying to address me this way. I am not a guy that you will just, so you can address the people so very clannish and insular. You know how insulting that is. That's the most stupid thing I've heard.
Is that not the general perception of the region? Is that not how people say that region?
I will choose, allow me to talk. I will choose not to answer your question. I can do that. You don't call a people. I spent a whole part of 4 hours here trying to make people realize how dangerous it is when you use certain words. And then you sat there to call my people, knowing how insular and clannish. What can be more stupid? What impudence? You stood before me to tell me that kind of rubbish and you want me to take it lying low with you. What kind of nonsense is that? Is it because that we sit down and talk like Nigerians? I've been the guy, I've been an apostle of peace. And then you dare address me this way.
Yes.
You dare not do that with me. I am too intelligent for that. And then you are telling me to abjure myself, not to philosophize. Did you pay my school fees? You ask me a question, you tell me how to answer it. What impudence. Nigerians, you guys have a lot of effrontery on you. You don't do that kind of nonsense. At this age and level, before the whole world, you are addressing a man like me in such a manner. I have been respectful with everybody here today, but you dare not do that before me, or else I will wash you down, because I know I can do that. I'm capable of doing that.
well, you
you ask me a question, and then you remain quiet, and then stew in the misery, and then let me take your question for what it is. You ask me a question. Because a guy is named Chinedu, he could not speak it. What are the constitutional provisions for becoming a governor in Nigeria? Did you ask yourself that question? And then a man like you is peddling this pettiness, this clannishness in the 21st century. Other countries are advancing, but your thing is, because it's our culture, he doesn't see, because he doesn't speak Yoruba. But his father is Yoruba. So he's no more. Do Yorubas inherit property from the maternal side? Is Yoruba land a matrilineal society? And then you are very proud to delegitimize a fellow human being because you say it's not our culture. Is it written anywhere in Nigerian's constitution, in Lagos constitution, that before you become a governor in Lagos, you must speak Yoruba? Is it a constitutional requirement? If it is not, why are you?
It is.
Why is it? I stand to be corrected. I don't know. If it is,
yeah, no, let me correct you then. It is instituted in the Lagos State Statute books that Yoruba language is the second official language of that state, and it's the language of governance every Friday in the state parliament.
Okay.
So that is an understanding you don't have,
okay,
and more to it, probably Chinedu does not either.
Okay, thank you very much. Did the law say it is a requirement for becoming a governor of Lagos State?
Thank you for that.
I asked you a question. Did the law say, did this Lagos bylaw say is a constitutional requirement for one to become a governor of Lagos State that this person must speak Yoruba?
Well, I've already answered that. They conduct parliament in Yoruba language, so it's implicit
you said
that you must speak the language.
That Yoruba language is too nuanced to be translated into English. Every language is too nuanced. And that's from my philosophical basis. Philosophy gave me that idea. Every language. That's why in Spanish they say that translators are traitors in every language, because languages are nuanced. So there is nowhere, even Lagos State bylaws doesn't supersede the Nigerian constitution. So, and it's not a constitutional requirement that somebody must speak a native language to become a governor of a state. Until you guys make that a law, I don't see anything constitutionally prohibiting this guy from vying for governorship. I am not saying that people should vote for him, but he has a right to be a governor. He has that
You've
right.
not addressed my question, though. I invited you to reverse it to your homestead and see and know your people as you know them.
I'm not afraid of questions. I deal with it every day of my life. I'm not afraid of it. So relax, my brother, and then listen to the answers. In my home state, if it happens, I don't care. What I care for is a man who is competent, who has the capacity to give good governance to my people, wherever they are. That's what matters to me. Where he comes from, who his father is, I don't give a hoot about that. It should not be playing a role in the 21st century of our considerations of who should govern us. Those who are my brothers that have governed my state, what have they achieved all this while? Those that are from my own neck of the woods that have governed Nigeria, where have that left us? Are we a first world nation? No, we are not. But we are still clinging to the same atavistic tendencies that left us where we are. Wow. And then we are then proud of that. And then you will be so very proud of that stupidity that you will sit down here and call the people clannish and insular.
Well,
No, that's the
I
generally
don't think
well-held perception. It's not news to you to hear them describe
It's
climate.
it's
Am I
not news
saying
to me,
something you've not heard
but that you
before?
hold this
Is it breaking
ignorant.
news to you
No,
that people
no. It's
consider the
not breaking
Southeast
news that you
clannish
hold
and
this
insular?
collectively
You know that
ignorant
as well as I
perception
do.
in the
That's the
21st
widely
century,
held
and
belief.
you are living in England says a lot about your personality and character. More than anything else, that an educated man like you holds such a perception. I should go and return my school fees because it's useless. I am sorry to tell you that. Rudolph, I'm out of this discussion.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for switching over to this channel. This is After Show, where we take reactions from what happened on the main show that we had today with Dr. Franklin Ogbunwezeh. I appreciate all of you that came here, and I hope the conversation will go on. As expected, I will be listening at the other end. I'm happy that we have Forefathers is here, Adama is here. If you will moderate, they will all help with bringing in people until KJ, who is the host, comes in to control the conversation. So on behalf of everybody at the back end, thank you, Adama, thank you, Forefathers, thank you, Ife, and I wish you guys a wonderful conversation. Master, thank you for coming back. I will be listening, but I have to run to somewhere. I appreciate all of you. Take care.
We appreciate you too, Mr.
All right,
Rudolph.
thank you.
Okay.
God
All right.
bless you.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Adama, thank you for coming in to support me. I haven't done this before. Forefathers, Ikolala, Chris, good evening. Maska. So listen, Maska, I have to apologize to you when it gets to my turn to talk. And Augustine, it's been a long time. Good evening, everybody. I'm still on the discussion with Dr. Frank Ogbunwezeh. I know he said a lot of stuff regarding Biafra. And I think each and every one of us, we still have different ideas on, what he said. And since we are coming over from the other channel, I don't know. I think everybody has spoken, unless Ada, you haven't said anything. You didn't join us in the first episode. So, I mean, I don't know if there is anything you want to say regarding Biafra, because yesterday, we celebrated, or the Biafrans supposed to celebrate Biafra Day. For some reason, it was announced, and somebody from the government said that it shouldn't be celebrated. So, and like I said earlier, these are the things that has been going on. We need to acknowledge that something like this happened. Frank Ogbunwezeh called it genocide. Some people called it, we called it Nigerian Civil War. Some people called it Biafra War. But until we address this issue, it's going to be hard for a lot of Igbos to move on past this. I learned a lot, and that's why no knowledge is a waste. You learn from the people who knows very well. I'm not a good reader, but listening to Frank, you can see where he stands. I have always been a big fan of disintegrate Nigeria, let everybody go their separate way. I've always said that every day.
I do disagree with, but how did we get there? How did we end up?
Who is talking?
Hold on. Can I say something before anyone says something? If you might want to tell your panelists that they need to all mute. Please, until she calls your name, please do not speak. If you're not muted, she's only the one allowed to, when she calls your name, please speak. Let's make this a smooth distance. I'm just here to support. So I don't even see myself as a moderator. So I appreciate if all keep our mics mute. Thank you.
Thank you, Ada. So back to what I was saying regarding the Biafra. Until we address this issue about Biafra, a lot of people still feel hurt, especially me. I wasn't born during the time of Biafra. The first time I saw my dad cried was when he was talking about Biafra war with my grandfather, who was his father anyway. And a little bit of what I understood, you can feel the pain from them having that discussion. And the little girl, I just sat down there and watched and listened. The pain is still there. A lot of people hasn't moved her. If you remember Ngozika that used to come here, Ngozika said, I think her grandmother lost her only son. So the pain is still there for people to move on. And I keep asking, why is it that the federal government doesn't want to address this issue? Like somebody said, maybe build a monument. Maybe one of the presidents, should come and, let us, when you're talking about unity, this is the part of unity we are talking about. No matter however you want to unify Nigeria, and if you don't drive this issue, it's still gonna be there. So when people talk about unity, I'm like, okay, the Biafra, people are still campaigning for Biafra. And another thing you have to understand is that if Nigeria is working, trust me, nobody will be talking about Biafra. The reason why we heard about Nnamdi Kanu today is just because Nigeria is not working. Nnamdi Kanu believes that, Igbos are being marginalized. The reason why we heard about Wazirike is because of the same Biafra. And Simon Eda is because of the same Biafra. So what can we do? I know we have different tribes here. Igbo is here, Yoruba, South, Southwest, everybody's here, but we are all one Nigeria. What do you think we can do? How can we move past this? What do you think the federal government can do on their own part? I heard my brother Ikolala said something about, he made a lot of statements that I might not quite agree, but that's his opinion. You will not understand the pain until you are in the shoe of the people wearing this shoe, the pain. So, I'm not going to say that what you're saying, disagree with you, but I might not totally agree. So let us dive into the conversation. I know CM was not here when Frank Ogbunwezeh spoke. Let's give him a minute, to say something. I don't know whether you watched CM. 5 minutes. What do you think about, celebration of Biafra, and how can we move past this if we can ever have unity in Nigeria? Thank you for coming in.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Those on the panel, those listening to us, and good evening specifically for stepping in for KJ, like I was made to know. The thing must go on. This is yesterday, let me just say, was a memorial, was sort of a remembrance day for Biafra. The day Biafra was, what do I say? The day Ojukwu announced the coming of Biafra, 30th May 1967, 72 hours after Gowon decided to abandon Aburi Accord, which he signed, and then created states, which was never discussed at Aburi. There is one thing, because we are talking of Biafra issue, Biafra analysis of Biafra, what it means to different people. And this is the week that Gowon released his 881 pages of pathetic lies, monumental falsehood of the worst kind. So, in it, Gowon said he had malaria. He made him not to, he signed that something in error. He shouldn't have signed it. He had malaria, all those things. You see, I am prepared to concede that. Not that it is true. I'm prepared to concede that Gowon had malaria. He couldn't have signed it. What I'm now asking is, that thing you mistakenly signed, show it to us. Those that are now discussing, let us even see that thing you you mistakenly signed in 1967. All of us sign an agreement. You can sign tenancy agreement with a landlord. When they start to interpret it, you said, I didn't know. I could have contacted a lawyer. I didn't know. People will now ask you, what really is that thing that you signed that you are regretting? You show them the paper. You say, look at it. So go on, what is that Aburi report? Show it to us. Forget about you had malaria, you had gonorrhea, you had syphilis, you can have any disease. We are not talking of that. Even if you have HIV or COVID, it's okay. I'm prepared to concede that to you. It is your opinion. Now, that thing you mistakenly signed The world is asking you, show it to us. Let us also interpret, read it and say, oh, was it this thing they were asking you to sign? After all, what we are asking you to sign is not a secret. It's a public document. So go on, why not show it to us? That is the issue. But then, Biafra, like my father taught me, that is the highest university I attended in my life. The university of my late father. Nobody can teach me more than him. So because of that, I have to reflect my own understanding of Biafra. If you give me the next few minutes, let me put it clearly.
Oh no, CM, we're only gonna do 5 minutes because somebody like Master is Nigeria due to time difference.
Okay, please, I will
5
be
minutes.
as fast
You
as
have
I
3
can.
minutes. You have 3 minutes.
Okay.
3 minutes. I'll cut you off in 3 minutes.
Okay. I've titled it Biafra, the land of the rising sun. Biafra, my country, the living testimony of political wickedness that is both physical and psychological. The touch of liberty for the oppressed people trapped inside the relic of Her Britannic Majesty's evil empire. The living spring of the leftover of Black Africa's first test of genocidal tendency, human memory.
All right, yeah.
Only second behind the with my network. I know, I don't worry, I know, you know, Biafra drives away evil spirit, but some people will still do not believe. The hope for Black Africa's moving forward. May God shed her glory on thee. I haven't finished. Biafra, my country, where the categorical annotation of latitude and longitude zeroed each other. The ancestral homeland of Olauda, Ekuano, the greatest spirit of human emancipation and triumph over slavery and imperial evil. The quintessential specimen of immortality and the imprimatur of Biafra's perpetual abhorrence of political oppression. The byword for resilience, hard work, candor, humility, discipline, and resourcefulness. May Chukwu Okike Abiama shed her glory on thee. Biafra, my country, progenitor of giants, Achebe, Emeagwali, Kano, Ojukwu, Tansi. The physical definition of God's kingdom on planet Earth. The philosophical inquest into the infinite possibility of the human capacity and reflex to surmount any obstacle and attain any height within the realm of conjecture of a free mind. The imperial nemesis of conspiracy to advance primordial Fulani conquering and subjugation reflexes and the expansionist tendencies and interests since the dawn of the millennia. The bulwark against ravaging Islamic fundamentalism and theocratic insolence. May your Creator look thee with gracious eyes, and may you find peace, favor, and courtesy with your Creator. Biafra, my country, the leftover, the scars left on your children, their various homes, offices, churches, marketplaces, schools, hospitals, farmland, and playgrounds are gory testament to the conspiracy by the Nigerian vandals with the formidable assistance of the trinity of the evil empire of Russia, the communist, the evil empire of Russia, Her Britannic evil empire, and the Arab League, led by late Abdelgamal Nasser's Egypt, as the rest of the conscienceless world felt unperturbed and looked the other way. Biafra, my country, your children will never forget, but will always remember the wicked official policy of the Gowon regime as enunciated by the demented ethnic bigot, Jeremiah Obaifemi Oyeniyi Awolowo, who in trying to be too much a Nigerian forgot to be a little bit human, to the effect that the deployment of hunger to starve innocent Biafran children to their early graves was considered a legitimate weapon of warfare in clear breach of the Geneva Convention. Biafra, my country, the quintessential child of hope and the hope of the brave. Created not to disappear but to endure and flourish, neither to be broken by adversity nor demoralized by success. The child of hope and the hope of the child. A competent carriage of the shield of democracy, a deserving recipient of the honor and sword of freedom. The bogey of Aburi heralded your birth and gave impetus to your coming into being. The boogaboo of your potentials represent the imagination of reactionary tendencies for all seasons. For you carry the shield of democracy and the honor of freedom. Our identity, therefore, as your indigenous people under God, must perforce represent the orchestra of our collective thoughts, while our sacred mission to restore your sovereignty under the sun constitutes the symphony of our collective dreams and the aspirations for all times. Biafra, my country, bent but definitely not broken, bloody but unquestionably unbowed, devitalized but most certainly hopeful. Your 30 heady months in the sun heralded black civilization. For mortality, decreed ordinariness and servitude must give way to ingenuity and freedom. Necessity is the mother of invention because knowledge differs from know-how. Needless narcissism gave way to black resurgimento that confronted black technological barriers as great chasm that only Biafra could narrow. Biafra, my country, your children still remember with utter relish the successes recorded through diplomatic offensive that turned the heart of some African countries to our direction, and which made the following countries to extend their favor and courtesy to us. Walimu Julius Nyerere's Tanzania recognized us on 13th April 1968, and in quick succession, Omar Bongo's Gabon followed suit on May 8, 1968. Then came Felix Houphouët-Boigny of Ivory Coast 6 days later on 14th May 1968. Yet another 6 days brought Kenneth Kaunda's Zambia on 20th May 1968. And 10 months later, Papa Doc, called Francis Duvalier of Haiti, showed her hand on 22nd May 1969. We will never forget what we must remember. Biafra, land of the rising sun, freedom is your second nature. Your children salute your checkered history today as much as they crave for your continued protection at all times. Your children wish thee well as much as they strive to restore the sovereignty of your republic since millennia. Your children are forever wrapped in your flag. Therefore, what glory is greater than the Biafran identity? For that is their bragging right and badge of honor. They are Biafrans, your own people, God's own people, children of light. Their ancestral history is traceable to Jerusalem, the city of God. O Mother Biafra, O Mother Biafra, may God shed her glory on thee. This is my tribute to Biafra, and it's for all time. So I always conclude by saying, O God, let me not die until I must have traveled the world on a Biafran passport. God, in your mercy, hear my prayer. Thank you.
Thank you, CM. Thank you very, very much.
Amen, CM.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow, that's quite emotional. Okay. All right, we have other topic we have to go through. Remember, we are still on insecurity. Remember, we still have our kids in the forest. Makinde is blaming the federal government. The federal government is blaming Makinde. Federal government just they sent delegates to go to Oyo State. I think Nuru Ribadu and Bajabi Amiala and the other, I think few other people went to meet the Oyo State governor after 2 weeks of these children being in the forest. So let us just hurry up, round up on this, and then we can move forward. Master, is there any other thing you need to say?
Okay, thank you, Ife. To say on what? I always like to be guided.
Biafra. Any other thing you need to say? If not.
Well, on Biafra, what I would always say is the same. My take is very simple. Okay. And I would take it at three levels. The first level, as an individual, personally, I don't believe that if I'm okay, then that's fine. And anybody can go and fly a kite, which is one of the issues I have with all the people that talk about Biafra as black people. Even if Biafra, it's okay. The idea that like a lot of other black people are still going to be suffering, it doesn't. It's not so. It's not the kind of philosophy I buy into. That's number one. Number two, I've done a lot of reading on Biafra, and I was born not too long after Biafra. So I've had a lot of people say a lot of things. I've read a lot of books, and my conclusion generally on all the issues is that to a large extent, what happened in Nigeria is not new. If you go and read the history of Congo, you will see exactly a replica where the Katanga region was actually being pushed by Western powers to secede. It's a common game plan. And if you look at the real countries that supported Biafra, France, for instance, the apartheid South Africa, it tells you a lot. These are not good people. If they are going to support you to go in a direction, you should go and ask yourself, like, are these really good people in terms of support? So there is a lot of issues that I personally have with the ideology, not just of Biafra, of saying, okay, these are my own people. I just want to care for them. I don't think it makes a lot of sense. So that's the most I can say. And what gives me hope, what gives me comfort, somebody like this, Dr. Ogbunwezeh, he's an Igbo man. There's nobody who will doubt it. No, I can't hear anybody that say, oh no, this is not an Igbo man. And I'm sure a lot of the Igbo people are proud of him, because when he speaks, you could see that this is an accomplished person. You can't say that he's an ignorant person. And I can see that we share the same common view, where you could see that there are a lot of people who are working day and night with a lot of, almost one can say, unlimited resources to make sure that every sort of division among a group of people is being escalated, is being excavated, is being exploited, and it's being expanded every now and then so that people would see themselves as different people. And so in the end, I've seen it even at family levels, where you would say a brother and a brother, people keep telling them they keep fighting, and this is exactly what I believe is the real bottom line of Biafra. Because if you look at even the real people that did the fighting, you can't say that these are people that have anything against the Igbo man. If you take Gowon, for instance, Gowon is from Plateau State. He is a Christian. He is a minority. What will he have against an Igbo man? I don't see anything. But let me just put it, let me rest it there, Ify, so that other people can talk also. More so, since I'm not a Biafran, I don't think it's okay for me to. What I don't like.
No, don't say that, Master. No.
You know, I'm truly a Biafran in the sense that I'm a freedom fighter. Anywhere I see people fighting for freedom, I would really align with them.
No, that's
I'm not against the fact that people should fight, but I'm saying that, look, there are some fights that we need to choose to ignore, and there's some fights that we must all collectively fight. But not to say that I don't understand or I don't feel the pain of the average Igbo man. That I feel, that I understand. But having a pain is not going to define. The steps you take must also be steps you think through. That's all. Thank you, Ify.
All right. Thank you, Master. There was something I said initially to you that I'm going to say about you. I think there was a day we were talking about this Biafra, and I think I really pissed you off because I keep saying disintegrate Nigeria, let everybody go their separate ways. And when Frank spoke today, and I had a reflection on that statement. You might not remember, but I remember it very well. And he said something that shook me. He said he believes in one Nigeria because in as much as we say that Northerners, they have been in power, but look at the average life of a Northerner. Is it better than the average life of somebody in the East or the West? So when you look at it, you just see that, I mean, what an average Igbo man is going through is the same thing average Yoruba man or the same thing average Hausa person is going through. So in other words, we are the ones suffering, not the elite. Elite, all they care about is just the grab power. And the question remains what they do with that power. It's just they care about themselves. They don't care about me and you sitting down here. So that's why we keep coming here every day, and it looks like we are fighting each other. And honestly speaking, I know that if we are united, like he said, Nigeria will be a better country. I want a country that will work for me in such a way that I can come to your state, Masca, and vie for a seat or look for a job, and feel comfortable that I am part of this country. And I want you to feel the same way if you come to the Igbo land or if you go to, Yoruba land. I wish we can have that country. I don't know when we're going to get there because we still have a lot of people that, have this mentality in as much as when we go outside, we are Nigerians, but when we're in the country, we are fighting each other. I'm looking forward to see that unity in Nigeria. Thank you so much, Masca. Don't go anywhere. And again,
so let me tell you this, Ify. Yeah, of course, we're all human beings. Sometimes we get pissed off, but the truth is that we are all brothers and sisters. So I respect you a lot. What I do respect in people is honesty. What I hate is somebody who will be deceptive. This is what you believe in, and then you're telling me something else. I respect you a lot. I know you speak from your heart. The only issue is that I believe there's a level of, there's what is called awareness. There are things that suddenly you become aware of, and then everything looks different. The same thing, that there's one picture, I will send it to you. It's a picture of a young girl and an old woman. If you look at it the first time, some people will just see the old woman, some people will just see the young woman. It's only when they explain to you the old woman, then okay, it becomes very clear to you. I am very, very clear that there's no difference between the black man. Everybody is suffering, whether in Nigeria. I've gone to a lot of African countries, and the challenge I really have is that all of us black people, the only people who fight is ourselves. When I was working in one of the African countries, they were angry. Why are they sending us this small Nigerian, small boy Nigerian? Their problem is that I'm a Nigerian. Meanwhile, there are a lot of small white Igbo people, white people around. That's not their problem. But also, I will tell you this, Ify. In terms of dividing the country, be rest assured, it's not the Igbo people that started it. The 1996 coup, the real agenda of the coup plotters, of the what they call the reprisal coup, their intention was what is called Araba, like let's divide the country. So I do understand that. Like I said, I've seen it in a lot of other countries. It's just a standard playbook. We need to just understand things at a deeper level. Even after the different, like what I tell people, okay, so if Biafra, or let's say the Igbo people, if they now have their country, are they going to carry the country into a different continent? Are we not going to be in the same vicinity of each other? So does it not make sense if I am going to be a country, you are my neighbor? Is it not evident that we must actually cultivate each other? So thank you anyway. Don't worry about me. If yes, sometimes I can get emotional also, but normally I think I will try and keep a cool head. Don't worry about me. I have no issues but respect for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for always showing up. I know the cost of data in Nigeria. I don't know how much you spend in a month, just to come here and be on these shows for hours and hours. Thank you so much.
I know a lot of people that have paid the supreme sacrifice. People like Patrice Limo. Go and read his history. He knew he would die. There was a time he told some of his subordinates that, look, I know that I'm going to die, but the fight is now up to you people. I know a lot of people that have died for the emancipation of the black man. So data is not going to be a big deal for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Adama, my sweetheart. do you have anything to say to us? Thank you for supporting me and joining me.
Here to support you, so just carry on. If I have anything to
So,
say, I'll
so
let
it's
you know.
Adama before me now, me that is in Nigeria too.
You
Eh?
see, I'm talking.
Okay,
I
no
don't know why you
problem. Go ahead.
interjected
Go
too.
ahead. Go
Please,
ahead.
why did you interject? You're in Nigeria. Which
Go
Nigeria?
ahead. Go ahead.
AY, you are not in Nigeria. Stop
Thank
lying.
you. Lying all the time. If you're my sister, I'm just here to support you so that way you can see that doing this, I love that you're doing a good job. So I have nothing to say. I want to listen to everyone because I think this is a teachable moment for every one of us. For
Okay,
me,
thank
I
you.
have nothing to say. I just pray that our country gets healed. And for those who know more about this Biafra thing, it's a teachable moment for all of us to keep an open, keep an open mind. I like something. I'm someone that is always curious. So for me, I just want to be curious and just listen carefully. So if I'm here to support you, go ahead,
Thank
Nemo.
you. Thank you so much, Ada. Thank you. Very much appreciated. Mr. Chris, over to you. What do you think about Biafra? I know you have some disagreements with Frank Ogbunwezeh. We're here to learn. You know, your 5 minutes. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, everyone. You see, the issue around Biafra is one based on a lot of ignorance. First, if Nigeria is working as everybody agrees, probably we won't be talking about Biafra. Now, but when it is not working, what do you do? So, in terms of understanding Biafra and where I stand on this issue, the problem of Nigeria is not any other thing except incompatible diversity. I repeat, incompatible diversity. And that has been the problem of Nigeria from the very start. Even those who created Nigeria told us as much. They wrote it down. And they told us that this country, these people are not the same. Now, we must also understand there is a branch of knowledge they called science of taxonomy or classification. When you classify things, what you are saying is that this is different from the other. Now, when you talk about there is strength in diversity, it means that when you hybridize this diversity, you have what is called hybrid vigor, and that is what is called the strength. So, when Nigeria was about to form, that is when the colonialists want to leave, there were discussions around what to do with Nigeria. Azikiwe, Awolowo, Ahmadu Bello, they sat and discussed. Each one of them said that, no, not each one of them. Azikiwe actually wanted a hybridized Nigeria, like you have in USA. Awolowo said no. Sardauna said no. So, in that sense, it means that they want separate nations. Now, the problem with this is this. If you have separate nations living side by side each other, you will have what people call, what you call in agriculture, a cross-pollination. Now, for avoidance of doubt, this cross-pollination represents contamination of products, which what people now in Nigeria think that, oh, we have so much in common. No, we don't. Now, having said that, in terms of development and technology, which everybody, every Pan-Africanism wants, I have said it here, the only country in the whole world, in the whole Africa that has been able to demonstrate ability to invent, adapt technology is or was the one they don't want to hear. That's Biafra. They testified, they designed, built, and testified rockets during those 3 years. They built their in runways. They were able to build modular refineries. They were able to communicate, build their communication to communicate with outside world. So there is a lot of technological developments there. So if anybody wants to know, rocket is what they use to send people to moon. It's the same technology they use to build ballistic missiles. So when people talk about power, you have to have power, so that the colonists won't colonize us. Then you have to think about a country that has the capacity to build that power. The technology you are talking about in Asia today is what was developed from Japan. The technology you're talking about in Europe today is what was developed from Britain. So there has to be a source in Africa that will give it a direction or to develop technologically. So when people talk about Africa, about Biafra, they are looking at it in terms of hatred. No, I'm not looking at it in terms of hatred, because as Maska would say, if Biafra comes, they won't move away from that geographical location. Okay? Just like Britain left England, they left European Union, they are still the guarantor of European security today. Now, again, when you come to helping other nations in that country, first, the Hausas today, they are even worse than every other ethnic nationality in that country. But they cannot do anything because those who colonized them, the Fulanis, are lording it over them, are not wanting them to develop. So if you look at what is happening in the north today, it's actually a war of independence from the Hausas. And people don't know that, but we do. So again, I want you to let you people know that if you have a Biafra, it will be able to determine its own future, its economic and political future. And when people talk about, yes.
Question, Chris.
Yes.
So all you are saying is that you are campaigning for Biafran people to be on their own, right? Is that what you're campaigning for?
That will be my preferred this destination.
But
okay?
let me ask you a question.
Okay.
So, because when Frank was, speaking, I started having reflection about this issue of course, I'm an Igbo girl. Is it not the same? We're going to have the same people, because even in this Biafra set, we don't even love each other in the same Biafra.
No.
Hold on. Hold on. Miss, hold on. We're going to have the same government, right?
No.
We're going to have the same government with the same people.
No,
we're not going to have the same politicians.
Exactly. No, let me explain to you. Okay. Now, when you come to political development, you develop through your culture. When people come and tell us that the democracy is something that the Britain or the West gave us, it's not true. When the colonialists came, they were from monarchy. They were practicing monarchical government. They came to Igbo land. They saw a group of people practicing complete democracy. Now, this democracy, they see it in form of proportional representation, which they have now come to Europe to develop as a kind of a political arrangement, proportional political representation. So Biafra has had a lot of, when I mean Biafra, I mean the whole Igbo land, and even Ebibio, Ghana, Efik. They have the same kind of system. I want also to know that this thing you people call in America Juro system is something that has been practiced many years in Igbo land, in Anan, in Ibibio, in Efik. Juro system or jurisprudence. So what this means is that if you go back to your culture and develop a political system, for instance, you will never have this weekend now having to or have a system where you have weekend building mansions for judges. Because
can I ask you a question, before
yes,
we move?
Yes.
So what are the Biafrans doing? Because I know a lot of people, if we vote today, if we have Biafra today, on election day and ask people, what do you think about leaving? I know a lot of people will want to leave. But my question is this. I remember my father saying that it is very easy to get Biafra. This Biafra, all of us are asking for. Only if you have 5 Eastern governors, if they can unite together. But that's not possible. We can't even get one person to agree, not to talk of get the other 4 people to join. Because from what I understood, the rivers, they will not want to join. Let's say there is Biafra today. The rivers will not want to join the Igbos. They are Saba people. What are you going to tell them? Are they not part of Igbos? They are speaking the same language. So when you look at,
let me explain to you. When Frank was talking about Germany, I was laughing. Germany was exactly the same way the Igbos were many years ago. Okay, they have different dialects, different people, different what will I call it? Kind of sub tribe. Okay, sub tribe. Okay. Now, what happened is that after many years of fighting, the Europeans helped them to come together. Now, the Germany, if you look at it again, when Germany was defeated, you have Eastern and Western Germany. But once the wall fell, it was very easy for East and West Germany to come together, despite ideology. So what I'm saying in effect is that culture plays a very significant role in every nation's development. Because they are culturally, ethnically German, it was very easy for them for those in the East to forget about Eastern ideology, or to join their brother. So you won't even know where Germany, whether there's East or West. So that is what I'm trying to explain to people. The fact that you may have 10 or 20 or even 100 nations out of Nigeria does not mean that they will go away and they are not going to be cooperating with each other. But what it will do is that each one of them will now develop, somebody mentioned here, teaching your people with your language. You look at Europe here, a very small country, very tiny, they will always speak and teach their people in their own language. Something Africa, in fact, they say that the difference between Africa and Asia is because the Asia accepted the colonialism, worked with it, accepted the technology. When the Europeans left, they refused to accept their culture. They went back to their own culture. But in the case of Africa, Africa retained European culture. And that has been the problem.
Round it up.
10
Okay.
hours.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to explain to you. But you see, one thing is that this needs a lot of, you can write the whole book on it.
I know.
But one thing I want people to understand, I want people to understand, I personally do not talk about Biafra in terms of hatred or maybe because of marginalization. No, I don't. I don't believe in because Igbos are marginalized. No. The reason I want Biafra is for us to develop everybody, the Yoruba, the Hausa, the Efik, the Nupe, they will all develop according to their own culture. And then we cooperate, just like you have here in Europe. They have European Council, which embraces everybody, okay, which embraces everybody.
All right. Thank
So
you,
that is
Chris.
my own understanding.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I know if we continue to talk about this Biafra issue, we will not discuss any other thing. But I want us to dive into insecurity. AY, thank you for your patience. Is there anything you need to talk about? Please, 5 minutes.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Ify. Evening, everyone. You see, if you allow Mr. Chris to go, we're gonna stay here till tomorrow.
I know.
Thank you for stopping him. You see, these issues we are discussing, me personally, I love the unity of Nigeria. I just want Nigeria to come to. I'm pro Nigeria actually, but however, I also believe people should have right for self-determination. I think not having this idea of Nigeria is non-negotiable. I think it's flawed. So I think people should be given right for self-determination. What I find very weird though is, when we discussing Nigeria most time, the three major groups, due respect to everyone here, the Hausa, the Igbo, and Yoruba, they just think Nigeria belongs to them. And we from this group, we are not paying attention. We are not paying attention. We so much disrespect the minority group. If Nigeria is to have issue today, this is the biggest issue they are going to face. This is not 1960. You have to take other people very seriously. When Nigeria was divided into three, the north, the southwest, and the southeast, the idea of the British for adding minority to this group, it's not based on ownership of land. It's not based on
Sorry.
Sorry, hold on. Let me finish. You go ahead.
Sorry.
Hold on.
I know. I'm not
please,
just
no, hold on.
No. I want to say one thing.
Chris, hold on. We'll come back to you. Let him finish, please.
So it was not based on ownership of land. It was a careful construction for them. They push the minority to the major group so that they can work together. However, after that breakdown, after that division, there was agitation. The reason why Midwest was created was because they felt marginalized in the Southwest. The reason why Adakaboro had issue with Ojukwu was because the Niger Delta people were marginalized. We can argue, we can disagree the way we want, but these are the facts. So that is why minority groups are really scared of joining them with any major group. So if you want division, don't cut minority group into your group. They don't want to be part of, I don't want to be part of a North with Masca. It's not that I hate Masca, but I want to be able to work with Masca if you want to divide the country. I don't want to be part of East with Ifi. I don't hate Ifi, but that's what it is. We have to call it what it is. Where is Fofather from again? I don't want to. Okay, then apart from that, the technology, Chris, you were calling. No, Biafra is not the only region, the group that we're able to create technology such as a rocket. No. The South Africa actually had 6 nuclear warheads. They had nuclear bomb, not even missile, nuclear bomb. During apartheid, they were dismantled in the 90s. You can fact check me on this. That was the biggest mistake African continent ever made. Because I think South Africa would have been able to protect the whole of Africa. But for some reason, they dismantle their nuclear weapon. You can fact check that. Then, you see, the other thing we need to pay attention to, there was something Dr. Franklin said today. He praised Alesoti, how the work Alesoti is doing in Abia. You see, because of the objectivity of honesty and consistency of Dr. Franklin, I'm completely in line with that. I know for him to say that, that is what is going on in Abia, which a lot of people have said. The question you ask yourself, since 1999, Abia State was the most backward, one of the most backward states in Nigeria. So now, everybody is praising Abia. The question you ask yourself, the money they are giving to Abia, is that not the money they are giving to Enugu? Is that not the money going to Anambra? Is that not the money going to Imo? Is that not the money going to Yobe? So we need to also hold these governors accountable. So let's stop crying. We cry too much. If Alesoti can do it, even some other states are getting more money than Alesoti. Why are they not doing the same thing? Just imagine since Odius Okalo ruled that state. If you had two Alesoti, they rule like 60 years. Do you know what that state will look like? So this is the way we need to also question our governors. While we criticize the federal, we have to do that. The state governors must be questioned. What are you doing with our money? Some of them, you know what they do? They go grab this money, they change the money into dollars, they tell everybody to go to hell. This is exactly what our state governments do. I'm not speculating. This is what I know. They call Bureau de Change. They change the money into dollars, they'll stash them away. So this is another area we need to look at it. For Nigeria not developing, it's not only for federal. Since the states are getting federal allocation, we should also hold them accountable. Me, I'm even looking for a way where even the local government, autonomy is really, really implemented in such a way that let Nigeria develop at the level of local government. But again, the issue of any group that seeks self-determination, you should open up the constitution, allow referendum to happen if they need to happen. As if the people decide to say they want to leave, let them leave. This is what I believe. But my own personal stand, let's have one Nigeria that is working for everybody so that we can live at peace and have a progressive country. Thank you, Ife.
Thank you, AY. You said something. There is something that you always say. I think I've challenged you here on this platform, the issue of regional government. You have always campaigned that you want a regional government. For example, what OT is doing in Anambra, in Abia State, it's not a rocket science. Anybody can do that. But the thing is that the government, they have chosen not to do it because of corruption.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of us that lives in abroad, I think in London, you people call them councils and all that stuff. These are local government. We have it here. We have counties. We have, mayors and all that stuff. But the corruption in Nigeria is so much that you can't want somebody, even common councillor, is moving around with 20 security people. How much more local government chairman? Remember, it was on this street of internet that a girl from River State came out and called out her local government chairman about a school. And instead, what did the local government chairman do? He went there with his brother and beat the hell out of this girl and beat her mother too. You cannot speak up in Nigeria. Even regarding the current insecurity in Nigeria, a lot of people want to speak up, but they cannot speak up because they are afraid. So we have a long way to go if we keep talking about unity. We have a long way to go. But In terms of unifying Nigeria, in terms of things not working, we have resources.
If you
But
let
the
me talk,
Hold
here
on.
is the reason.
No. Hold on. We have other people to speak, please. But in terms of insecurity and the resources that we have in our country, I wonder why people are not asking questions. I think that is the biggest problem we have. We're not asking questions. We let a lot of things slide under the bed and we keep moving.
If you 1 minute on the regional government,
hold on, and we are immune to this suffering. Any little thing we come on social media, we ramble about it for 1 week and forget about it. We get used to it. We move to the next question. Go ahead, AY, 1 minute.
Yeah, 1 minute. You see, on the regional government, I start by that any day. I'm so convinced that will work. Just imagine you have a Lesotho now as the premier of the Southeast. He will implement the same idea. So the way Nigeria, the urgency of the country need for development, if you have regional, it's more like having 6 presidents instead of 1. Nigeria will develop faster. And the way Nigeria, we are people divided, I'm from here, I'm from here. Where you have region, you have a federal government that have limited power, devolve power to the region, resource control. There will be healthy competition. Where you now see Southwest working, the person from the South side will look at it, we need to do better. In terms of electricity, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of everything. If you go back to history, anybody should go back and look at when we had regions. Nigeria was better. This is the truth. Nigeria was working.
All right.
Can I say something? Can I respond just 1 minute?
Chris, I will come back to you, please. I gave you more than 10 minutes. I will come back to you. Okay, 1 minute. 1 minute, Chris.
Okay, first of all, what I am saying is simple this, because when you talk about this Southeast, South, I don't recognize it. What I recognize is Igbo, Efik, Yoruba, Hausa, Ibibio, Nupe. You see, these are nations with different cultures, with different languages, with different ideology, vision for how they want to develop. Now, when you cut some Igbo people, join it with the Yoruba, or say go to the house Ijo, join it with Yoruba, you are likely to have the same problem. So that is why, that is to solve the problem of minority. Nobody is a minority in its own home, in its own land. You cannot be a minority in your own land as long as you can be able to develop yourself, have your own safe governor, have a governor from Ibibio, ruling Ibibio land, have governor from Nupe, ruling Nupe land, have Hausas, ruling Hausa, have Fulanis, ruling Fulanis. Now we will have no problem with this problem of ethnicity.
So
now,
it's
that is
very interesting. If you think about that, Chris, we might have about 15 nations in Nigeria.
What is 50?
Different countries.
200.
Yeah.
That is not correct. That is not true.
Yeah,
the reason I'm saying to you, let me tell you something, okay? If you go to the so-called South now, people like Ndoni, people like Ikwere, people like Anyoma, people like these people, they will tell you they are not Igbo because they've been told that they are not Igbo. But you see, in classification, there are 4 criteria to classify ethnicity. I've described it here as language, history, culture, and the social value. So once you have these things classified, so you don't decide whether you are a Bibio or whether you are Hausa or whether you are this. So that way we know who is who. Okay? So, but because we are stupid enough, the white man come and tell us, give us name Nigeria. He divide and say, this is North, this is South, this is in the Western world here. they always use your natural names to form their own country, to form their own states, to form their own local government. It's only in Nigeria they start creating these artificial names, so that somebody like Shore will be thinking that he's a Yoruba man when he's not.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sorry, Effie, please, just a point of correction to Chris. It can't be only in Nigeria. How many African countries have you gone to?
Sir?
How many African countries have you gone to? In all the African countries, this is exactly the same.
The same problem everywhere in Africa.
They have different languages.
The same problem in Africa. Is any African growing?
So it's not only in Nigeria. I'm just saying
exactly. Is any African growing? So that is what I'm trying to say. Those of you who want to find Africanism.
All right.
So
all right.
let me add something to what Chris said.
No, hold on, AY, please, so that we don't go back and forth. Let's see. I think Ada, can you bring the whole panel?
Ada, you are muted.
Okay. All right. So let us, we'll come back to you, AY, because I don't want us to go back and forth. Okay. Thank you so much for your patience. Mr. Forefathers, over to you. Where are you, Forefathers? Okay, Forefathers, over to you. Thank you, Ada.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ify, and thanks for holding on to the fort. Greetings to the panelists, greetings to the chat and to the viewers. Yeah, I think the Remembrance Day issue within Nigeria is not where I expected it to be at this stage, given that we've had, presidents from different parts of the country since 1999. And for the life of me, why this has not been raised in a way that the Nigerian state can acknowledge it, I don't know. Maybe it's because some parts of Nigerians, they do what Nigerians do. They are all kind of bigoted in their own ways. When you look at the situation within the country, what I see within our people is that people that are living a new life but don't even recognize their own identity. And like we are all here now, we are not all from the same tribe, are we? Or what the Chris will call nation, but yet there's something that brought us here. I think, was it a former guest that came here 2 weeks ago that said there are people that are actually Nigerians today, but we don't just recognize it because we deem that identity as not valid. And the nationality, what we call ethnic groups today, is because you have shared language. Oh, are we not speaking English? We have a shared language, even if it came from somewhere. All languages came from somewhere. The idea that you break up the country and it's going to give you solace, not likely, because all the neighboring countries are not doing that much better than us. And we just refuse to see. Let's put it that way. We can see the results all around us, but it refuses to register in our head. Man, human beings are really strange to me. Because from the field I'm from, you can't see blue and you call it a different color, because people that created this live stream that you are on, you can't make mistakes. You can't see black and call it blue. But somehow we live in a society where people can just do that. And it appears as if maybe there's something about human societies that requires people to be a little bit dishonest, a little bit facetious, and a little bit, kind of dodgy behavior. But I think we have taken it to a level where it's not doing us any good. And at the core of it, because most of the traits we have, other nations have them, the only thing that they have that we don't have is our national security. And we always like to say that our problems are different from other nations, but we've never really checked other nations and see how tragic theirs are also. And some of them are just devastating news when you look at it. And yet they are all doing way better than we are doing, and doing better than almost all our own nations are even doing. Some of them, they go out every year and they have to worry about their property surviving. Natural disasters will destroy their properties or destroy whatever investment that they built, and they'll have to start all over again. They are still better than us. And are you going to sue nature for destroying things? because even nature visits tragedies to us all the time, and I feel like we get hung up on negative things that other fellow human beings do to you, and we use that to stop ourselves from actually doing something to prevent more tragedies. Because all I care about is our survival, and all the things that I keep seeing in Nigeria every day, the tragedies that are occurring over and over again. It's not nice to see people that have been kidnapped and they are begging for their lives and nobody. And I'll come on this panel and people will just be talking as if it's business as usual. Let's go and worry about our feelings first. What is this? God, if they kidnap me, I'll just tell the terrorists, just kill me. There's no point. Because our people are useless. What is the point?
Somebody, sorry for cutting you off, forefather. Somebody posted on social media this morning when I woke up and was just making an announcement to his family and said, if he ever gets kidnapped, please, nobody should pay a dime. That he will rather buy than for anybody to pay. Because for how long are we going to continue to pay? So imagine, we're going to be paying all the time, and it's endless. It's not going to stop. So he made it clear to his wife, to his children, and he said it with all boldness and all seriousness that please do not, nobody should come and plead on my behalf. If they want to buy me, I only have one life to live, and we move. So back to what you're saying.
Thank you. As I was saying, when I look at the way we behave, I don't have much hope until something forces us to think straight. And I'm afraid our enemies are a lot more clever than that. Our adversaries are clever. They are not going to give us that opportunity. They are going to let us sleep until they are ready to finish the job. They are too clever for that right now. At the same time, if you look at what has happened to the minorities in that country, and this is another thing, I feel like there is whole pervasive idea that there is only a certain group in this country, only 3 ethnic groups. And it's becoming a little bit irritating. Because if you look at the country, the minority groups, if you put them together, they outnumber any single, many of these big groups, including the Hausas, by the way. They outnumber all of them put together. And yet these people have just been marginalized, and these other groups just seem to think that the whole world revolves around them. And at the same time, some of them are crying about injustice, while they are visiting injustice to everybody else around them. This, a religion, I read about the Quran when they talked about upholding justice. No matter, even if the person is not your religion, you still have to uphold justice. And I'm sure in Christianity we have the same doctrines, but yet we don't follow it, and yet we go to church. It's really odd. When I watch human beings sometimes, it's scary to believe that we, like I said, that we actually cross the road safely. But how do we do these things? We see something and we just pretend as if we don't see it. We go to church every Sunday, we go to mosque, and we do something opposite. Another one, I think I saw the other day, somebody put out a video about a Nigerian complaining that some people are blocking the road when they are praying. It's like, but why do we do these things? And I'm not even sure. There's no religion that says you block the road when people are getting on their way for you to pray. No religion says that. But yeah, people are doing it.
Or even when party is going on, especially in Lagos.
When I look at human beings sometimes, I worry that if I was God, when human beings are perishing and they ask for me to save them, I would just tell them no. They don't, because it's like you give them eyes and they can't see. You give them instruction, they will not listen.
Forefathers, even churches now close road though. Not that
I know now. I know they too are doing it. They too are doing
everybody,
it.
Yeah, everybody, both the churches, both the I don't honestly, I don't understand that. Parties going on, they will close the whole street.
No religion tell them to do that though. They are just the one doing it. In other words, we are even disregarding our religion and doing whatever else we want to do. So our behavior is just all over the place. And no matter how you tell people, they will not do anything. And I've said it before. I've seen this happen in many, many societies. If you go and study other societies, you see the same patterns. Human beings are strange beings. We raise children. How do we even raise children? How do we even raise children? When grown-ups are even worse sometimes. It's crazy. Some of the things we do is really strange, whereby We will see something and we'll do something else, and at the same time, we're going to uphold, we'll say this is what we stand for. But it's not true. We don't stand for those things. We are very biased people, and I really think that maybe there has to be an objective way to be observing information. The conversation we had yesterday was dealing with this issue. What is true and what is not true? And I really think that the people that built this platform that we are on, those people are onto something, because they are the ones God has rewarded with this knowledge to do what they are doing, because they focus on truth. What they've observed is what they reported. They didn't go and just start pretending as if what they saw is not what they saw. And when somebody says something about another tribe, you say, oh no, that one is not bad, but our own is worse. Why do we do that? Personally, if you want your nation to work well, you have to be fair to everybody. And the thing about the UK, one thing that you can say whatever I like about the Igbo men. One thing you see here about the UK, even if you are black, they don't like you. You are talking to them. But the moment you use that trigger word, fairness, suddenly they pay attention. The moment you trigger that, I've seen that happen in the UK multiple times, because they use it all the time. The moment they trigger that word, because fairness is not a fixed thing, but they think, it forces them to think and say, okay, maybe let's try to work something out here. They try to be fair to each other. And I really think within Nigeria, we have to try to be fair to each other. This thing that we do, we blind ourselves to each other. And I was surprised. One day I put a video up here where even a Southeastern lady, young girl that has not even met another Southeastern tribe, was just bad-mouthing another town. Say she hates them. You have not met them. Who raised that child to be like that? A human being did. A mother, a father that goes somewhere, raised that child to be like that. Why do we do this to ourselves? And the same thing happens with Nigeria. We're all speaking the same language. Many of us share the same religion across tribes. We don't recognize that identity. And is that not a form of madness? You are part of a group, or you don't even want to acknowledge you are part of that group. Maybe what you should be doing is try to solve the problem within that group, instead of pretending as if you are not part of the group or say, I want to leave. Because if you say you want to leave, okay, how has that helped everybody else around you? It hasn't. I don't even know where to start. I'll just leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, forefathers. This is a very interesting topic. But like I said, I know if I leave it, we will stay here till tomorrow talking about Biafra. Remember that we have pupils in the bush, mothers, father was beheaded. Please, let us round up. I still want us to talk about insecurity. I have Mr. Oti. Mr. Oti, thank you for joining us. Let me tell you what my sister said, Mr. Oti, about what she said last week, unfortunately. She said, why is this guy fighting you? I said, he's not fighting me. That's his own opinion. And she was like, what is your business with what is going on? Why is he accusing you of being part of the problem of Nigeria? Anyway, we just laughed about it.
Can you give a
it's
response,
okay.
sister? Can you give well, this is you can tell your sister that I was actually fighting you. So fighting your opinion, disagreeing with your opinion, or rather challenging what I perceive to be an irrational, forgive me, an irrational reaction, or kind of, I don't know, irrational disposition reaction. I don't know. So anyway, so yeah, just there.
Let me make it clear. Let me say this to you. It's still not going to stop me from laughing. I will continue to laugh about what is happening in Nigeria. Good. They are still in the bush. The kids are still in the bush.
Okay. It's okay.
You know, so it's not going to change anything. But I'm just letting you know what people think about it.
Good. Excellent. Thank you. You did a good job anyway. Right. You see that I asked the question. You know, I thought this Biafra thing it was dealt with yesterday. I listened. Now, the first thing I have to say is this. I'm somehow people that came to this. As I said, I was listening, and I heard quite a lot from. I learned a lot from More, right, the gentleman. And maybe some of the questions people are asking, it makes me wonder. Maybe people don't really listen or understand, learn anything. They just, just I don't know, talk. Okay, the first thing I would say is this: more from listening to him yesterday, it was clear that Biafra wasn't really an Igbo thing, so it wasn't anything tribalistic. Okay, and that is an important point. Well, I think perhaps again, like from listening to Dr. Ogbunwezeh today, well, one could say perhaps he missed that aspect, because in a way, because one can forgive him because essentially his critique or his was the IPOB and IPOB stuff, mentality or philosophy or approach, which is something different from the Biafra, what Biafra meant, what he stood for, the ideals Biafra fought for. Now, yesterday, actually, I was at Biafra. I was at a remembrance in Manchester, and I had to give a talk. The title of my talk was Biafran Spirit Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. Now, you see, okay, I have a poem here, right? It was written by Achebe. The title of the poem is Biafra 1969. I'll just read the first stanza. It's only three lines. First stanza of that poem and that last stanza. Okay, two stanzas. Biafra 1969, and it's from his book. There Was a Country. It's at page 141. That poem. Okay, Biafra 1969. Okay, it starts. First time Biafra was here, we are told it was a fine figure, massively hewn in hardwood. First stanza. The last stanza of that poem says, "Must Africa have to come a third time?" Now, see, he was talking, started off with Biafra and then ended up with, the question, must Africa come a third time? Okay, so some people don't realize that the word Biafra was not invented for the war, or just, or before the war, just before the war, or for the sake of the war. So Biafra had existed. Of course, the region, the territory, eastern Nigeria, not southeast now. So, and this region, of course, eastern Nigeria, when we had the original regions, eastern Nigeria, and then of course the coastal line, which is that's why it's called the Bight of Biafra. So there were kingdoms there. Okay, Aro Kingdom, as in the 10th century, there was a kingdom, civilization, and then of course the neighboring kingdoms, Bani, Opobo. So all these they were Biafran, so that's why this area is called Biafra. So that was, if you like, the first time Biafra came. And then, of course, the war, 1967. Okay? Second time, if you like, going by Achabe's poem. So, and then he ended up by asking the question, must Biafra come a third time? Now, I'm sure maybe some of us have heard also, the saying that in Biafra, Africa died. So, you can connect this, this brief account to what Chris was talking about, asking the question, what Biafra achieved as a sovereign, for the 3 years it existed, its achievement technologically. So, but anyway, let's leave that apart. But the thing is this, what Chris is arguing for, and I do share some of his, the views he's expressing, is this. In other words, there's merit in, kind of cultural homogeneity. Equally important is the fact that, this unity we're talking about is not something, it has to be, is experimental, negotiable. It's not something that should scare anyone, should terrify anyone. Again, Chris has also made the point. It's not kind of a posture of enmity. If, for example, a country, a region, so a Yoruba land becomes very, successful technologically, politically, economically? Don't you think that the rest of its neighbors, say there are other nations, there are nations, independent, sovereign, don't you think they would benefit? So in other words, there's no basis for the anxiety, the fear. Okay, so this forced unity. I'd rather have separation than the forced unity. So really, anyway, look, for me, I may be an idealist, but equally I'm pragmatic. So we have to look at things, look at what works. Okay, we can't be talking about the unity of Nigeria because it's not working, it hasn't worked. Is a falsehood, is a lie, right? And living a lie is a nonsense. We are living a lie. Our current president never believed, well, said openly, publicly, that it doesn't believe in one Nigeria. And he's today is the president of that country. Come on, so what do? We have to, for me, it's a simple matter of, if like, honesty, sincerity. Nothing should be off the table. Okay, the fact that we find ourselves in this kind of in one geographical space does not mean that I have to sacrifice my future, my life, for the sake of, I don't know. Charity begins at home, So each of the people have different ideas about life, even about God, about politics, about everything. So I don't think there's no reason you can justify stopping any person, or people's development or growth, advancement, for the sake of what? So look, if we come back to what in the discussion we had today, where I would say I would disagree with him, but not too strongly, because he's actually open to that possibility, that discussion, and that's what I believe in a discussion. So, but having unity for the sake of unity and then fetishizing about it, that I don't agree with. So we have to be pragmatic, and then love still exists. I believe in love, and also believe in hope. So yeah, but
Okay.
so that's just my position on that.
All right. Thank you so much, Oti. I mean, I know a lot of people, especially the Igbos here, they want Biafra. In my own recommendation, I would say start talking to your politicians, the people in power. They are the ones to make this move. Start talking to them moving forward. The next person, Ikolala, I know you were here before, but I think you left and then came back. So take your 5 minutes, then before I go to Femi, and then hand over to KJ. Oh, Ovia is here. Please hold on. Ikolala, go ahead. And
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I'll just
5
take my 5 minutes. My 5 minutes is to I was actually one of the people that commenced this show, but sometimes there are things you listen to and you kind of feel you just need to come correct, and I'm not saying I have all the knowledge, but there's some things you hear and it sounds funny to you. On this case of Biafra, which has been said so many times. Now, I actually came in because I saw Dr. Frank. You see, what you hear when these agitators of Biafra come to the fore, what you hear is emotion, ideology, and this sense of self-righteousness. And there's one thing I fear most: the man that acts on the face of I am always right in terms of self-righteousness, in terms of religion. Fear that man. He's not acting rational. And the man that acts on the face of emotion, be very fearful of him. He's not acting objectively. You see, Biafra, yes, it's a people that has been denied a few things. But let's be very honest, Nigeria has over 250 languages, over 500 languages. And you hear people come here and say, oh, because there has been turmoil before, that is the reason everybody should separate. And some people live here in the UK. Do you know how many times the Welsh fought the English? You know how many times the English fought the Scottish? So when we say these things, let's hold facts. Let's not just come and demonstrate emotion. Oh, because there was one war, then that just says it is not applicable. It just can't happen. Do you know how many people died during the Civil War of the North and South? So when we come here, please let's hold on facts and not just emotion of look. And the funny side of it is this. If you come out objectively, it means you're not Igbo. It means you don't know. It means you don't have a grandfather that told you a story. It means you don't have a family that told you that somebody died. You know? So please, let's be objective. Our governors are not doing anything. Igbo land is derelict. And if all you can compare the dereliction with as a yardstick, as your yardstick of saying, oh, Igbo land is progressing, is because you are comparing it with Yoruba land, then that is an error on itself. So sorry, that is just my take on the whole thing. And Dr. Frank made it clear. The man came here, he told us that if you take your time and look at Nigeria as an entity, the Igbo man might even be, yes, he has been subjected to some set of degradation. But if you look at it properly, there are some other tribes that have been subjected to that kind of degradation, and that is still ongoing.
I don't know if you were here. I don't mean to cut you.
And please let me take my time. One thing I would always commend the Igbo people for, and which they have done today, which I still stand by till tomorrow, is the creation of things. Maybe I might be wrong in this, but I see the creation of IPOP, the creation of it has at least cemented and given them that sense of security from this banditry that is going on today. Because if those things were not there, if those institute, or I wouldn't call it institute,
yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
If those agents were not there, I wonder what would have happened. But in that sense, let's hold on to that, which is very good, but let's hold our governors responsible at the same time. They are not doing well. They are not doing well at all. And like somebody said here, which is very true, charity begins at home. If I am going to tell the Nigerian government to recognize me as an entity, I must recognize myself. My governors must put me in the limelight that makes me innegligible.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for stopping by. We look forward to seeing you again, and good night. Thank you for your contribution. Femi and Ovie, I don't know who. Okay, Ovie, your 5 minutes. Oh, okay, Ovie is gone.
Let Femi go. Let Femi go. I'm here.
Let's 5 minutes. We are still rounding up on this Biafra topic. What's your 5 minutes opinion, and what do you think?
Yeah, so thank you. Because I am someone that believes more in looking at things from a global to a local level, knowing that we're not alone in the world. I like to take my premise from what happened with the former Czechoslovakia on one hand, and then Yugoslavia on the other end. In the case of Czechoslovakia, it was a lot more easier because they mostly had just two groups. They basically have just two groups, the Czechs and the Slovaks. So their separation was a lot more easier, even if it may not necessarily have been ideal. In the case of Yugoslavia, it was a lot more complicated and it was violent as well. And of course, that dwells into the fact that there's a lot more ethnicities involved. And apparently, the more ethnicities that you have, the more chances there will be bickerings, especially when there's no fairness or equity or justice. Justice being probably the key word. So when with Yugoslavia in perspective and putting it side by side with Nigeria, and maybe just Black Africa as a whole, you begin to see that even after you had the initial breakup, you had further breakups, a lot of which are violent, all the way down to where they are now. There's still bickerings, especially within Bosnia and Herzegovina, because recall that when you now come down to a country like Nigeria, they, apart from intermarriages and what have you, you want to ask yourself the question, okay, granted, Biafra was a name that was in existence, for example, even before it was co-opted to be a breakaway nation. But I heard something earlier, and I think it's not correct in my opinion. Depending on who you speak to, there's about 200 to 250 to 400 stroke 500 ethnicities and subdivisions and what have you. And I usually like to make examples of what happens between the Aguleri and Umuleri. I do not recall the exact idea, but it was not a nice war, minimum war, if you will. Similar to the one I understood a lot more, which had to do with the Ife and Modakeke crisis in Osun State. Now, the part that I think was too surface level for me and was too simplistic was, again, granted that the Biafra scenario might not have been okay, I take that back. Hearing that it was majorly an Igbo secessionist program, rightfully so, because whether one likes it or not, there's no way. We're all humans, and there's no way if you feel cheated, and that cheating is not addressed, there's no way you not feel agitated. But in my opinion, to think that it's not going to be a problem if someone decides that all the other groups, including the Efiks, the Anangs, the Ibibios, if you go down to Delta, the Ishakiris and what have you, if, for example, you had a Biafra that included all of those ethnicities, to think that there's not going to be a problem is to be denying the obvious. I say this to say that when the question was posed earlier, I don't know if it was you, if it had posed the question, that there's a possibility that Nigeria will break into so many, if we had to go by how many groups are affected in terms of this injustice, it will break on into as many of the ethnicities as you want to speak about. Because when you look at even the major groups, not talk of the minor groups, when you go to a place like, I don't know if I can use Ondo, let's just choose a random place in the West that I can speak to a lot more, or even the North, Kaduna, for example. And I fully understand what I'm talking about. I'm not making any of this up. There's going to be problems even within the actual ethnic groups. Say the Hausa group as an example, not to talk of the minorities within, or groups that you consider minorities. And keep in mind, most of the minorities that you have in Nigeria, most of the ethnicities that you have in Nigeria are in the middle belt. That's another problem in itself. So to think that with what we've experienced, Nigeria being Nigeria right now, to think that Nigeria will just break into a couple of what's it called, national countries, I don't think it works that way, except for someone that has not transversed Nigeria, doesn't understand Nigeria at a broader level. I just thought I found out not so true when I heard something I didn't think, I just felt was too simplistic. It's not that simple, in my opinion, especially when you consider our recent history. Again, if you tie it down to what happened within the Umuleri, Aguleri, and what have you, the Ife Mudakike. And I can guarantee you, even when you look at the political sphere, just to give you like another perspective, you hear one governor, I know it's happening right now, even in Ondo State. You have all of a sudden, it's a case of one group just produce the governor. I mean, is it not happening? Doesn't it happen? The next thing you know, are they not all supposed to be Yoruba Abi from Ondo, or at least majority you? This I even forget. Let's not even. I'm not even delving into whether Shurore is Yoruba or not. Look at the other groups that you consider core Yoruba groups. You see the same thing there, even in Lagos. You see, you already see Badagry people complain about how they're being marginalized. I
They
just feel
just gave their deputy governor. They
I
just
know,
gave them.
they had to.
That's the
I
reason.
mean, they barely just gave them that lady. But you can be rest assured that by the next election cycle, you still hear another complaint. It might be the turn of I know Ekpe had what's the name of that guy that got removed. It might be the turn of another people from Ikorodu, or it might still be the Badagi people that will tell you, even though we got what's it called, deputy governor, we've never produced governor. I think this thing
Let me help you. In Benue, since 1999, it's only one group ruling.
yeah.
Only one.
So I think it's deeper than this. That was the part that really interested me the most when it came in terms of this conversation. But I guess the way I just want to end this is that situation that Dr. Ogbunwezeh described with respect to Southern Sudan lets me know that in as much as I personally I would follow the likes of even a Patutomi in terms of seeing the good in Nigeria, for example, being together. I do understand. Because I'm not stupid. I do understand. Even though I'm not Igbo, I try to put myself in situations. I try to do some kind of role plays when I meditate sometimes. Like, if it was me, how would I feel? I mean, I know it can be difficult to imagine these things, but it's not illogical to try to put oneself. I just wanted to put those thoughts together and say it doesn't mean Uhuru, as exemplified by what's happening in Southern Sudan. You see there's their own war within the same, what's practically the same group, So for me, it's just neither here nor there. Basically, I just wish there could be some kind of justice, but there's more to it than what I could even fathom.
I wish we can all unify together. I wish it's that easy, But again, like you said, I don't know. Sometimes I get mixed feelings. But Ovie, what do you have to say?
Ma'am. First of all, I would like to make this clarity. From yesterday to today, I sense some notion as if the only Igbo man has the actual right to talk about this Biafra. And I say not lie. The same right an Igbo man in Inewi or any part of the Southeast has to talk about the Biafra. The same thing somebody from Katsina, somebody from Edo, somebody from any part of the country, because it's our history. Nigeria Civil War will call another Biafra Civil War. It is my history. I get brothers who fight in the Civil War. Even if I no get brothers, my village people fight for Civil War. That is my story. So nobody will come use emotion, say bulldozer me, yes, because no people, it no go work. A Nigerian story, the Nigerian Civil War. No be saying on one side, the fight for themselves. Nah, the whole country was at war. So nobody, it is just because you are an Igbo man, you narrate your story, that doesn't make you have the absolute right and facts. No. The same fact and reason that you have to speak about the war, the same right the other person from the other side of the house you also has, and the same facts. So I just want to make that clear. And again, from what I have study between this electoral cycle how will be presidency. The question is that which one will come first? Which one the Nigerian oligarchy, the mafia will sacrifice first? Giving an Igbo presidency or allow the states to crash again? If you ask me, I would say giving them presidency is more easy. So all this tension that is the rise from time to time is all part of the bargaining power. It's all part of the negotiating power to get to power. That's why I started my platform. I name it Honor Politics. Even when American was at the height of his game, I said it's all about power. Once you give them power, everybody will come.
Obi, a question.
So,
Hold on. Obi,
yes.
hold on. Let me ask a couple of things. That's a very interesting thing. Let me ask a couple of people here. CM, do you want Biafra or do you want the Igbo presidency?
It's not up to him. It's not up to him. It's not up to the.
Okay, Chris, what? Yeah, Igbo. Just don't go into long story. Just tell me. Do you prefer the Igbo presidency or do you prefer the Biafra? Which one do you want?
Biafra is an inevitable, even with Obi president.
Okay.
When you
okay.
say,
Biafra is an inevitable, even with Obi's presidency.
Okay. Okay.
Wait,
all right.
wait.
Okay.
When
Okay.
you say,
CM, hold on.
when
Hold
you
on.
say,
CM, hold on. Hold on. OT. Biafra or Igbo presidency? Which one do you prefer?
You see, for me, the question is not either of them. That's not the both is not. It's not that's not the answer to the question for me. Okay, because I'm not Biafra. I'm not really pro Biafra. Are you with me? I'm not pro anything. Okay. Equally, coming to the presidency, it's not about Igbo presidency, but a good person, a good president. Okay.
Okay.
So that's
now I'm just
so
asking the question. Hold on,
That's
I'm asking the question based on what Obi has said. That's why I'm asking.
Mm.
All right, CM, Igbo presidency or Biafra?
You see, when you say Igbo presidency,
No.
I believe
Just
you.
say Igbo
I believe
presidency.
you mean no. Let me understand. I believe because I never hear of Yoruba presidency or Fulani presidency or
I
Ijaw
know.
presidency. So when
CM.
you say Igbo presidency, no, hold on. I answer. Let me understand what I'm answering. When you say Igbo presidency, you mean Igbo man becoming president of Nigeria.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
You see, that question, to be honest with you, is unfounded because up to Obasanjo ruled 8 years. Why are Yoruba still having Yoruba nation?
Okay. All
After
right. So,
Obasanjo ruled Nigeria for 8 years, military for 3 years, yet Yorubas are even under Oshibajo as vice president. Igboho was doing Yoruba nation went to Downing Street to go and submit
all
letter.
right. Thank you,
So
CM.
what
Thank
I'm
you.
trying to say is that you see, the way I will answer it is that you can't compromise anything with freedom.
Okay.
The
All
idea,
right.
you see,
No
when we
problem.
mention Biafra, it's not just territory we mean.
CM,
We are
it's
talking
okay.
of
I know
human
where you're
being.
coming from. It's
Oh
okay,
God.
CM. I hear you. All right, Ovie, go ahead and finish up your talk. Go ahead.
So, and I frame my submission that way because all this tension that is coming from the east is all because of that. CM's talking about why is it that there's still Yoruba agitation. They are still bargaining for power. The Yoruba agitation came to its climax when Tinubu make it clear that he's looking for power, and it was becoming obvious to him that the presidency and the northern aspect of the sub-aspect of the power brokers are ready to deny him. And he has to find a way to prove to them that yes, he has what it takes to destabilize the country. That is why they empower Igboho. And he never finished. They are still asking for second time. So the agitation no go stop. But again, it is not up to. It is not up to.
So that has
Let me finish. Let me
answered
finish.
Ife's question. That has answered Ife's
Let me
question.
finish. It is not up to the ordinary Southeastern and ordinary Nigerian to determine, to decide whether the presidency will go that side or it no will go. So why they ask us individual? whatever our opinion is, it doesn't matter. It holds no water. Power will determine those that control power. Those that are at the top of power will determine where the power goes. And if they are seeing that the tension, the agitation is going out of hand, they will slide it in. And if the next mechanism that the elite will employ is to what? Carry a little bit of restructuring. Give every zone one state more. They buy time. Somebody say Nigeria is still young. I agree. So all this is where they happen. So they go begin the draw. How far can you? You are looking for power. How far can you go to get the power? That's what it's about. So even yes, the agitation. I'm not saying it's not founded. That the spirit is not there. It's real, but it has no capacity right now to determine where we won't go and it go happen. No Nigeria will be scared. No, when I mean no Nigeria will respect. No aspect of the power brokers in Nigeria will be moved because they are Igbo man. The threat they say they won't come up for country. That's a fact.
Thank you.
The agitation will always be there to keep using as a bargaining chip for power. But that's it.
Okay. All right, so 1 minute. Just 1 minute to round up before I go to KJ. Please, 1 minute.
Okay. You see, actually, people might be surprised. Why am I unnecessarily quiet? I have learned to categorize whatever anybody says into two. Those that matter and those that do not matter. So to me, I can only say, if I hear what people say, if somebody really has a father, you should learn something from your father. I learned from mine. For those that we want to react indirectly, I have a father. It means, yes, I know my dad. I learned at his feet. If he's paining you, you didn't learn from your father, well, it is not my fault. So it's as simple as that. Certain things that do not matter. I think what we should be talking about is, what did we arrive at Yaburi? That is what I'm interested in. Because it's about Gowon's tissue of all the nonsense Gowon wrote, just gigantic nonsense. What did Gowon sign? He said he made a mistake. Okay, he had gonorrhea then. That's why he couldn't know what to do. So now we are now asking, show us that let us see that document that you mistakenly signed. That's all. So that Nigerians will now know. That is what is important. All this idea of whether you talk Biafra no go come, Biafra go come, he go there like South Sudan or I go kill. All those ones are just...
in other words, freedom. In other words, freedom. You've answered it. So.
CM, thank you so much. And finally, KJ, thank you for the opportunity to host this for the past 1 hour, and it's my pleasure. I'm handing over to you. Today we had Dr. Frank Ogbunwezeh.
No, you're not handing over to me. You are still continuing. You're doing a good job.
Exactly. If KJ, thank you. If you want to escape,
yes,
go
not only that you are doing well, we prefer you to KJ.
We prefer.
I don't mind. I don't mind.
At forefather.
I don't mind. It's not a popularity contest. I don't mind.
Right,
if I've been following, I was not around. I had to drive about 1 hour to get back. I've been following you. You have done very well, and please just go ahead and finish it up. Unless, of course, you are tired.
Okay. All right. So we had Dr. Frank Ogbunwezeh here. I don't know what you were able to listen when you were driving, but he touched on a lot of stuff regarding what is going on. And finally, he touched on the issue of Biafra. Of course, yesterday was supposed to be a celebration of Biafra in the eastern part of the country. But for some reasons, like I said, we understood or we heard that somebody gave an order that will not stand. And that is very interesting because I don't know whether we're still in the military. And just like Frank said, we don't have separation of power in Nigeria. If we say that we are in democracy, there is no reason why we still have military on the road. The essence of the military is just the protection of the country. Of course, I think you live somewhere in America here, The only time you see the military, if there is any war, going on somewhere, or National Guard, they will be called upon. But sometimes we can't even tell them apart, whether we're in democracy or whether we're in the military, with what's happened to Justice Crack and all that stuff. So I don't understand. We don't have separation of power in Nigeria. Anybody who has power can say anything they want to say, and then we go by that. So, what do you think? We are still talking about the issue of Biafra. I will want you to round up. Like I said, I am so much interested in insecurity, what is happening in Nigeria, especially the kids that are in the bush, the 2-year-old, the 6 months, the 10-month-old baby, the woman that backed her child. We don't know what they're going through. I don't know if you saw the picture of the boy that was flogged mercilessly and they put a block on his back. That child is not up to 5 years. Some of us, we have moved on as if nothing happened. That is the kind of mentality we have in Nigeria. So I would like you to touch up on this, and then we can quickly dive on into this issue of security. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. If you've done or you're doing such a great job, I am really, really impressed. Thank you, and for also in a very short notice, without preparation, coming in to rescue the day. And then every one person who is here, I thank you for also being here. CM, I will not mind if you have not published that your write up. Yeah. I'd like to see you publish it. If you are publishing it, please send me a copy. I would like to go through it, and there's a lot to learn and a lot to read there. Yeah, I will. Earlier on, Forefather was saying something, and I think Forefather should watch it. I think it's becoming a very serious issue, that each time an Igbo issue is mentioned, he jumps to the wagon without even knowing what he wants to attack. I don't know why some people take it to mean that once an Igbo issue is mentioned, it means that they must be attacked. It doesn't help anybody. And when I say that, and I sincerely mean that, I grew up in the north, and since I grew up, I grew up in the north. I started hearing Arewa. Arewa is still being mentioned till tomorrow. Arewa simply means the 19 northern states. Nobody has ever fought them. Nobody has ever said, no, you can't mention Arewa in terms of national development. Oduduwa has always been mentioned. Nobody ever says Oduduwa is a problem. Why do you mention Oduduwa? Why are you referring to Oduduwa? But Biafra is a problem. When you mention Biafra, everybody is up in arms trying to see who they will, who they will cascade for doing that. I wish Ikolala was still here, because sometimes he makes statements that I don't know how he comes to arrive at that. He said what is the struggle? Nobody who doesn't, I don't know any Boma who doesn't want one Nigeria. What we are saying is, since we have been asking for one Nigeria, what have you done to make that one Nigeria a level playing field for everybody? What have you done? Buhari came, of all the money he was borrowing, none was ever sent to Southeast. The railway, the Southeast should have railway more than any other part of Nigeria. The Southeast was not included. Instead, we made railway from Nigeria all the way to Maradi in Niger Republic. Meanwhile, if you have gone to Maradi before, Maradi, free of charge. If you are going to Maradi before,
free of charge,
you find out that the people who are even living there may not be able to pay back that cost of that railway in the next 20 years. But there's certain particular part of your country with a lot of population. I would say majority population, but a lot of population that you could have done that for. You didn't do it because you didn't consider them as being an integral part of the nation. Now, why do you want to ask us what is our state governors doing? What is good for the geese is good for the gander. Forget what our governors are doing. The governors in the rest of the country, are they doing well? Why are they still giving them federal allocation? Don't ask us what the governors are doing. Leave that to the Igbo people. Let them sort out their people. Give them what is due to them. That's what we're saying. Give them, then leave our. Did you help us to go and slap Ike Kuremad in Germany? Our people are well able to deal with our leaders if we want to deal with them. We will put them on the pedestal and judge them. It's not your business. What we are simply saying is let there be a level playing ground. What is good for you in the north is also good for us in the south. It's also good for those people in the west. For me, I stand that everybody should get equal treatment. If an Igbo man commits a crime, let him be punished like any other Nigerian. If a Hausa man commits a crime, let him be punished like any other Nigerian. If a Fulani man commits a crime, let him be punished like any other Nigerian. Nobody should be treated with half measure. And when he has to do another person, the law begins to grow wings or change. These are the things that have been there right from time immemorial, and nobody is doing anything about it. So how about we discuss that thing that's making people who want to leave the nation want to leave? Why are we not putting our effort in trying to discuss those injustices in the system that is making people to say, if this is how it's going to be, then we don't want to be part of it. No, don't. Please hold
No,
on.
no, no,
Because
CM, hold on,
Just
hold
30
on,
seconds.
hold
Let
on.
me ask you a
you are
question.
going to,
Let me help
no,
you.
No,
let me
CM,
finish my
CM,
thought.
stop, please. KJ, round up. Go ahead, KJ. CM, wait. Go ahead, KJ. Sorry about that.
Some few minutes ago, an Ariwa youth was warning Allah Ejimako not to even mention General Yakubu Gowon in his mouth again. That these are their leaders. Okay, and that he shouldn't mention, it cannot be criticized. That is giving him the last warning. Now, but this is what is going on. If an Igbo man does that tomorrow, he will be picked up. He'll be picked up and locked, and the key will be thrown away. An Igbo chief in Lagos said, if you people don't want to give us security, we will bring people who can come and give us security. Okay? He was locked up for 5 years. I don't know if he's still in prison. He was locked up for over 2 years in Lagos. Igbo chief. Because he said they are going to bring security from the east to come and defend their stores that are breaking into every night. Where has that been done again? Because a governor in Nigeria told us that Fulanis can live anywhere in the country, whether it's in the bush or outside the bush. Nobody can stop them. So these are the injustices that will keep going on, and until those things are solved, we will not be able to move forward. If you don't want the country to divide, then let everybody have the same level playing field. So some of you, sometimes I don't even know. Look, the money alone going to 2 states in the north, it will go around the eastern states more than 2 times. It wouldn't be enough, because one state or 2 states in the north covers every other local government in the southeast. So what are we talking about here? And money allocation is given by local governments. So if we are serious as a people and we want to maintain a nation, then we will go down to look for those things that people are complaining about. And so, forefather said that the 3 tribes see themselves as the only people in Nigeria. No, that is wrong. Your premise is always wrong. And when your premise is wrong, your answer will always be wrong. There's nobody in Nigeria who thinks that Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba are the only people. By the way, the Fulanis that are less than 7 million people are even dominating the rest of us. Why are you not talking about it? Okay? No Nigerian would, me for instance, I know some tribes that some people don't even know they exist. Okay? But those people, their interests, we have always said it here, their interests must be taken care of. You cannot say because they are minority, or I don't know who even brought the word minority. You cannot say because they are small, means that their interests should not be protected. Because when you do that, you create a bad belly that eventually bring about the problems that we are facing today. But if you call everybody, no matter how little they are, I gave an example of the United States. Delaware is one of the smallest states, but it's very powerful that if you don't go there and put enough impact as in your campaign, you may lose, and eventually may lose the whole country. So we can create a system that will be just for everybody, but we refuse to create it. And then when some people are complaining, we begin to shout. They're always complaining. Nobody stopped anybody from complaining. Nobody. Sunday Igboho is there. He has brought people who are carrying up arms up and down, but the army is in the east, shooting old women and young boys down. In the east, looking for IPOB and ESM that they don't see anywhere. Asareda Kubo is there, who has even threatened to finish the Igbos, displaying his machine guns and everything on this. He's still walking the streets. Nobody has gone to look for him. Nobody has gone to ransack and fire down all their all their houses. But if it's somebody from Anambra State, by now the whole of Anambra would have been leveled. Are these not injustices, my brother? How long shall we continue to dwell on that and you think we should keep quiet? We're not going to keep quiet. We're not going to keep quiet. Now, talking about the issue of Biafra, and I'll round up from there. There's a book we used to read those days, and some of you may have read it. You know, Sidney Sheldon, If Tomorrow Comes. That if tomorrow comes was what Ojukwu saw. If tomorrow comes, what is going to be today? And for their tomorrow, for our tomorrow, they gave their today. I don't care if you don't like the Biafran story. People have been telling it before. We have said that it is our own time now to tell it. Because as long as the hunter keep being the one to narrate the story, the hero will always be the hunter until the lions begin to tell their story. The lions are now telling their story. We will tell it. I have always said it here. I don't care what you think. We will tell that story. We will write that story. We will publish that story anywhere we like. Because the life of 3 million people, if it don't mean anything to anybody, it means a lot to us. It's not because our people were the ones who are involved. If it were any other place, we would have done the same thing. So, saying that is because we are what then do you want us to do? Do you know that the system that was destroyed will never ever be my father never recovered till he went to be with the Lord. So, do you want me to come and tell my own personal story? These are the things that we cannot, when we come and trivialize it and say, we don't know why the Igbos are always. My brother, you only had the war. Our relatives, our brothers, our sisters, they lived through it. Some of the generals who married wives from the East didn't marry the women because the women were willing to follow them. They were forced into marriages. Some of them had to do that so that their families will live. And then when somebody comes, because you are sitting there, you just begin to talk nonsense. Some of their sisters are still in bondage. They married and they have to convert to whatever religion those people were worshiping. And they continue that way until eventually they were able to relocate. Do you want me to tell you the story of the WTC, Women Teachers College in Uzua College? Till today, they have not been rebuilt. They left it there as a relic for our children to see. And so many other parts of Igbo land have things that you can see. And then somebody tells you that they were shooting palm trees. They were shooting palm trees. So that's what a 85-year-old man, God has given grace to live to this moment, cannot even tell you the truth of what happened. And Arewa youth is telling us if we talk about him, then we will be in trouble. So this is where we are. And I don't want anybody to think that we are crying foul because we just want to cry foul. No. If it were a thief man, we will talk about it. When Obasanjo took the army to go and finish people in Zakibian, we spoke about it. We wrote about it. We talked about it. It doesn't matter who it is. Life is sacrosanct. Nobody has the right to take it because you can't give it. And that's where we stand. Sorry, I hope I didn't take too much time. I rest my case.
Woo!
Please,
Okay.
please, can I summarize and sleep?
Hold on, CM. Hold on, please, CM. I know this topic is always Igbo people are always passionate, when they talk about it, including me. Okay, including me. I'm not gonna sit down here and tell you guys that I'm not passionate when I hear the word Biafra. Like I told you guys earlier, that was the first time I saw my dad cry, and the last time I saw him cry was when he buried his mother. So for me to watch that man as old as he was then, to have this discussion with his father and cry about it and the friends that he lost, it means that the pain is still there, the wound is still there. Like CM was asking the question about Abu record, we will never know the truth. And like this person said, Ojukwu did not give us his own side of the story. He didn't write a book. So most people that will read this might be biased about what Gowon, wrote in his book. So we have a long way to go. We have some healings to do. You know, I love my country more than, and I'm sure everybody, we all do. If not, we will not be here every week talking about issues that concerns our country. Femi is in London. I don't know, it's almost 2 a.m., God knows, or after 1 a.m. in London, and he's here. I
I'm
think
not in London, though, Ify.
Femi is trop neighbor.
are you? Oh, okay. I think Master. Let me talk about Master. Master is in Nigeria, and look at the time, and he constantly come here every day, to join the program. So kudos to him. And Oti, I think you're in London, right?
Just to push back on people like KJ.
Okay.
Manchester.
Hold on a minute.
Oti, I
Manchester.
hope you are supporting Manchester United. Otherwise, we are going to
Thank
drive
you.
you from
Thank you
there.
so much, Oti,
I'm
for
not
joining.
into football. No.
CM 1 minute, not 59, not
Okay.
101. 1 minute, I'll cut you off. Round up what you want to
Okay.
say.
Okay. KJ, what I wanted to bring to your notice was all of us here, we are 8. Let's say we are 10 or 11 years, and we are in a classroom writing an exam to federal government college. Are we going to enter with the same cutoff mark?
No.
So
No.
what unity are we building? When at the age of 10, you tell a child that you do not belong here. 10 years later, the child will be 20 or 21 or 22 years. When he start to raise flag, he say, look at this child. Look at. What nonsense are you talking about? You see, I've learned to, it's not everything I reply to. You see, because Mark Twain, an American writer, he said, do not argue with a fool, because that fool will bring you down to his level and then beat you with experience. So not everything I reply to. We all know Nigerians are hypocritical. All of us here, we are 10 years old, and we want to write exam to federal government college. Are we going to end up with the same cutoff mark? We
But
cannot.
just
Then
Okay.
15 years later, when we be 25 years, when we now
hold
start
on.
to talk, somebody will say, why can't we unite? God punish that unity. Good night.
Hold on. CM, hold on. CM, hold on. I understand you. Hold
If
on.
you are back, I just want to ask KJ a question. Which primary school, secondary school did you attend, KJ?
Why do you want to know?
Because I think you attended a northern secondary school.
Yes. Government
So,
secondary school.
where?
It's a government secondary school.
In Benue State?
Yes.
Did they say you are not from there? No, I'm asking because
I said federal government college. I said federal government college. You see, this is the way Nigerians reason.
Come on now,
Federal government. I didn't say federal government college.
Hold
You
on,
see,
hold on, CM.
we are talking of unity for
Hold on,
federal government.
hold
We are
on,
not
CM.
talking of state. We are talking of
Hold on,
federal.
CM, hold on, CM, hold on, CM, hold on.
No, please.
Hold on,
CM,
CM.
please,
Masker, the school I went to is in 72. It's called the Jumpers Club. That's a part of the army that owns that 72 Airborne Battalion. Okay, in Makodi.
no,
All
it's
right.
fine.
Yeah.
Look, I don't think I don't want, but I think sometimes we push the envelope too far. It's true that yes, there are cutoff marks, but I can tell you that I went to ABU in my department in Zaria. I read economics. We are about 92. Almost 80% of the students in that department are from the southern part of this country. There were only me and one other guy from Kano that read economics. Only 2 people from Katsina State. So yes, there are issues, but it doesn't. I don't want to drag the issue and look. Sorry if
This is hold on. So this is what I'm saying. Okay, hold on. CM, please hold on. Calm down. Please, I beg you. So this is what I'm saying. Yeah, we have this issue. Nobody's saying that we don't have no problem. I don't think anybody here is saying that Igbos were not marginalized or Igbos were not treated. That is not the point. What Frank was saying is, how do we move past this? How are we going to move forward? I think that's where the problem is. How are we going to, we
Yes, and
understand
that
these things happen.
I don't know
How
if you
to,
mind. If you listen, we have always on this channel canvassed how we can move forward. Then how moving forward is it has to be people who accept that they want to move forward. Now somebody is saying that it's a federal government school. Remember that Nigeria didn't start this way. It was a gradual progression. It's not that when we started. In fact, today I was talking with a friend. He went to another part of school in another part of the country. They had the same kind of treatment. I mean, with any other person. It was a gradual movement. Somebody was saying,
KJ, let me ask you a question.
I'm coming.
Let me ask you a question.
no,
Sorry,
AY, no, no,
please,
no, no.
Fifi, one question.
I'm coming. I'm coming. See, let me tell you something. I've been asking myself this. In the time that Gowan decided to create the 19 states, how many Igbo people were represented in that committee, in that meeting where he went to create the 19 states? How many?
You should go and check now, KJ, not that
No. I'm asking because at that point that he created 19 states, how many people were in
Idoma people were in that committee? How many Idoma people?
Is Idoma not?
Oh, so
we're
now
talking about the southeast.
Sometimes this is what we do. This is part of the problem. Okay, you somebody's problem, you push it aside. So Idoma, because they are part of the north. You yourself, KJ, you can't make that statement.
You keep. This is called gaslighting, Masker. You keep putting that out.
Okay, hold on.
Listen,
KJ.
hold on. Please,
I just want to make a statement and I'll go because I want to go and sleep.
Hold on, Chris. All of us want to go and sleep. Come down, Chris. Hold on, people. Hold on. You see this issue of Biafra. Let me tell you something. I know the Igbos are so passionate. I keep saying it. Sometimes, and that's why I said it would be good for the federal government, the government of Nigeria, to address this issue because a lot of people are still sore from the wound. If this issue is not addressed, it will continue to linger to generations to come.
No, I want to talk about security.
Hold on. 1 minute. Imagine if they come together and sit down and acknowledge that something happened, that there was a genocide, just like Dr. Frank said. And, as the Igbos, how can we make amends so that we can move this country forward? I think it's going to go a long way. But trying to suppress this as if it never happened, trying to wipe it out of the history, it's not going to help. Because we have internet, people are going to read, people are going to talk to each other, generations to come are going to read about it. Okay, so I know a lot of people want to go to bed. Chris, any other person have something to say about this for the last time before I round up? About
yes,
hold on, Chris. About Biafra, please. 30 seconds.
I do.
30 seconds. After 30, hold on. After 30 seconds, I will shut you. I will cut you off. Go ahead, Master. 30 seconds.
All right. So it's not really on Biafra actually, but just to alert Chris. I like the perspective he comes from, but I also want to alert him. It may not entirely be correct, some of the positions he takes. I understand what you're saying, Chris, but if you take a country like Somalia, where almost everybody is of the same tribe, of the same culture, and you see the mess that is there, you can understand that the issue sometimes is not just about the language you speak and the history. A lot of people don't even understand. If you take Rwanda is 85% one single tribe. And actually, they speak the same language. In Rwanda, there's one single language. We differentiate the people simply because these are maybe, just like in Nigeria, you said the Tutsi are like Fulanis. But so I'm just saying that, look, you have to go back and also look at some of these things that you push forward. If you look at America today, it's one of the best countries in the world. And we know that you cannot say that America has one single language, one single culture, and stuff like that. So I rest it. I want to say good night to everybody. And
Master, please just hold on. Just listen to what I'm gonna say to you. Okay. You see, for me, people don't understand where I'm coming from. There are two models to build a nation. A nation has to have one vision in order to develop. So there are two models. You either have hybrid model or you have original model. Now, the hybrid models, like when you go to America now, America, a group of people traveled there, killed all the people that were living there before, or most of them, introduced their own vision of what America will be like. And then everybody that comes in can plug in and live and do whatever they want to do. That is one. Now there is European model of originality. The European model is like every ethnic nationality, because most ethnic nationality don't want to be subjugated by another. Okay, this is a fact. So because Europe fought war for over many years, and then they sat down in 1745 to understand that no ethnic nationality will be allowed to lord it over the other. So that is why when you have Tab, you have Croatia, you have all these things, they encourage them to do this thing. And where you have two nationality, ethnic nationality living together, it's always too arranged that those component units can actually function even if there is no national government, like in Belgium, like in Switzerland. Even in here in UK, somebody mentioned UK. UK is made up of 4 countries. United Kingdom is not a country, it's 4 countries in one. Okay, so we can have a lot of arrangement in Nigeria. If you still want to love this country, love the name Nigeria, you can have a lot of arrangements that will encompass everybody, but give everybody the opportunity
please, you
to
didn't listen.
develop.
The point I'm making to you is that
Yes.
even where I'm not talking, I give it to you what you said, but I'm also pointing out to you that nation building is
Yes.
beyond just language. That
Yes,
even
I
there are
understand.
wait,
I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you.
that there
I
are
agree
countries
with you.
that have one single language, one single religion, and they are
Yes.
still having problems.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you. There are so many things that I agree with you. There are so many things that can bring problem in a nation. But you see, the reason why the Nigerian case is because I'm one of those. If I had headache now, I don't just go and take paracetamol. I will understand first what is the reason why I have headache, because headache is not a disease. So when you have, because I want to go to this thing, this security that is going on in Nigeria today. Okay, that's where I want to go. So it's a symptom of bad system. Now the system drives from the fact that if you come to Nigeria, let me be clear here. If you come to Nigeria, there are two groups that are actually very dominant. You have the Fulanis, you have the Igbos. These two groups are expansionists in nature. These two groups have that's only one thing they have in common. But the Fulanis they have a conquest mentality. The Igbos don't. The Fulanis have destructive mentality. The Igbos have building mentality. But that building mentality they have can be misconstrued into domination. You understand what I'm trying to explain to you here?
You are not making. Listen, me, I live here in Nigeria. These stories
Yeah.
you're telling, they are just stories by moonlight. If there is
No,
any that has
I'm
to
also a
relate,
Nigerian because I've
please,
lived there as well.
no, but you are
I
not
live
here
there
now.
as well.
So what
But
you are
what I'm trying to
doing is
explain to you is this. I'm trying
please,
to come to this something they call insecurity. This insecurity is because each nationality has been not allowed to control their security institutions. No, if you come to here in Europe, here, for instance, in UK,
Chris,
you
I
have
think let's give
police
every other
here
person.
in
Me,
you.
Chris, let me ask you a question, Chris. Let me ask you this question. I wanted to ask
I want
KJ.
to just wish everybody good
Thank
night.
you,
I
Master.
let it not be on my own.
Oscar, thank you for
If it's
stopping
please,
by.
let me ask Chris or KJ.
Hold on, AY. Thank you, Master, for stopping by. Like I said, I don't know how much you spend on your data every month, with the way things are going on in Nigeria. I appreciate you every time I see you here. Honestly speaking, I'm always happy when I see you. I believe
It's
in
not easy.
diversity.
No,
I'm not gonna.
we as a country, we must be together. At least I come simply because I want to. How do I put it now?
I understand where you're coming from. And that's why I say whenever I see you on the panel, I'm always happy. I don't know why, but just to have another, I'm telling you, oh God, bear me witness. I'm always happy whenever I see you. In as much as sometimes we don't agree, but that is the reason why we are here. And that is that part of unity we are talking about. But with that said, good night, stay
When
safe.
I'm not around, please, KJ is my second northern brother. You people should take him as a brother.
Okay. All right. I look forward to seeing you next week. Good night.
Masca, good night.
Bye bye. CM.
Let me ask
Oh,
this
no,
question.
hold on. Let's Chris finish. Chris was saying something. Chris, can you round up, please?
So what I'm trying to say is that this insecurity, had it been that, okay, take for instance, when they were in Aburi, that Aburi Accord, because people don't even know that Aburi was meant to save Nigeria. But, because they did, Aburi failed, Nigeria is not going to work and it's going to complete, even if we don't do nothing, even if Biafrans or Igbos don't do anything, Nigeria will eventually collapse. And I can give you exact reasons, but that's not where I'm going, because I know that it will collapse. Now, but what I'm trying to say is that if you have the Europeans manning the security structures in their country, you have the Hausas manning the securities in their country, it will be very easy for them to determine who is their enemy when that enemy comes in, and then they will fight him immediately. But these things are not done because they want to be, they want to have a federation. That doesn't mean that you cannot have a police that made up of Yorubas in Yoruba land, and when the army made up of Yorubas in Yoruba land, and when the Nigerian government want to take police to go to external operations, they can call from any of the sections. But the idea to have a Yoruba man being the commissioner in Imo State or a Fulani man being commissioner in Anambra State, it misses the point. And and this security will not go away until each nation is allowed to have their own security. That's all I've got to say.
Thank you, Chris. It's very, very interesting night. Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you.
CM, I know you want to say something.
Okay.
Can
My
you say
last
something then?
my
Yeah.
last word is this. The problem with Nigeria is the fear of unity. It is the fear of unity. That is the problem with Nigeria. Nothing more, nothing less. And they will be shouting unity, but they are afraid of coming together to unite. It's the fear of unity. If not, you can start to segregate people at the age of 10 based on knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you, CM. Yeah.
KJ, let me ask you this question. KJ, let me ask you this question.
Okay, please.
You know, see if he does not want me to talk now.
No, go ahead. If you
Like I said,
KJ,
come on.
please let me ask question, please.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to ask this serious question. Both Chris, especially Mr. Oti. Mr. Oti is a legal person. If this Biafra thing is really a serious thing in Nigeria, how come all these years there is no Southeastern senator or rep member that can at least raise this issue on the floor of the National Assembly? Let people even disagree with him and said, no, you can't bring it up. Why can't nobody, no rep member, nobody, no
Can I
senator,
answer that question?
at least let one person raise the issue? Let's
Can I
be a
answer that
topic.
question?
Yeah, anybody that want to answer it, I will
They
really
are the
want to.
part of the problem that we have in Southeast. The Southeast politicians, Ojo Zakalo and the rest of them, they are part of the problem. The truth of the matter is this. It's not that they don't want to talk about it. But the thing is that corruption has eaten so deep in Nigeria that just with money, you can silence everybody. That is the problem.
Because
excuse me. Can I also
yeah, that would be good.
An answer. Well, just in line with what Ify said, Turkeys don't vote for Christmas. And by the way, even if any Southeastern politician were to bring it up, he wouldn't garner any support. It would, it would be meaningless. So what's the point? As a politician, even using that to kind of I mean, it's like attract on negative, unnecessary attention to yourself. You're not gonna succeed, and you can only make your political future more precarious. Because people will start suspecting you. So I mean, that's not a question. See, and look, let's kind of try and grasp the real issue. It's not about, as I said, the question was asked to me whether Igbo presidency or Biafra. I said it's not really, it's not that binary, this issue, Biafra,
I understand.
or whatever.
I understand.
Essentially,
I have a reason why I asked that question.
I said that I was saying that was the reason I gave my answer to the question. I'm kind of elaborating on my answer, and the answer, which was CM has also kind of even broached it, is this issue of freedom, right? Self-determination. Okay. And by the way, do you people know what the real issues for, or the ideals why the Biafran Wars was fought? Okay. I will refer you in as well for, I don't know, there's, it's called Ahira Declaration. Ahira Declaration. Now, because you see the poem I started off with, ended up with Africa. Will Africa come a third time? You find out that the struggle really was for the black man, for the black race. It's because it's not as if people didn't have a problem with the Yorubas or the BB or whatever. No, that's not what the struggle was all about. Now, in the Ahira Declaration, you see, Ojukwu kind of spoke about three problems or three enemies of the black man. Not an Igbo man, or not the Igbo man or Biafran or the Biafran, the black man. The Biafran by extension, in other words, the real reason for the struggle. You know what is the three problems? Racism, okay? Because the white European has never really seen an African man, to be equal, to be a real man. After all, he had colonialism, and slavery, colonialism, and whatever, still going on today. The second issue, the reason for the war, is Muslim Arab expansionism. Somebody has talked about, the expansion of the Fulani, whatever. Okay, part of the problem. Fulani Muslim, sorry, not Fulani, Arab Muslim expansionism. And the third problem is white economic imperialism. So these are the three problems of the black man. And if you discover that it's not the problem of the Igbo man. Okay, so it's and the Biafra, Nigeria is more like a tool, an instrument they're using to carry on Nigerian foreign masters, this project of white economic imperialism. We're still having it today. I mean, slavery was there, and then before direct colonialism, and then new colonialism, and which of course even Mr. Dr. Ogbunwezeh spoke about. It is still the same story. So really, it's not this. The real issue is not amongst us. Okay. So when we're talking about this unity thing, unity or whatever, no, that is not the real issue. And the independence of one might actually lead to the independence of the whole, and therefore it goes back to the argument Chris is making. So in other words, what is going to succeed? What works? Okay, what is the best chance for a Black African nation, a powerful, technologically advanced nation? What is the best prospect for it to come about? Is this thing we call Nigeria, this model, this contraption, as some people might call it, this directionless? That is, the honesty. That honesty has to be there. We have to have that discussion. It's not nobody hates. I mean, we don't hate each other. It's not a question of hatred or not liking people or people having fears. AY always talk about minority. Who is against, and then who is against the minority people? The people we call minority. They were part of the Biafran government. The so-called minority people. They were integral part of the Biafran struggle. It wasn't you were here yesterday. You listened to Mo. Biafra was not a tribalistic, was not an Igbo agenda. You should have learned that if you were listening. So really, let's be real. Let's understand what the issues are. Okay, I think I'm gonna go now. It's really getting late for me.
All right, thank you, Oti.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, okay? Thank
Okay.
you, bye-bye. All right, let's talk about the most important thing going on in Nigeria now, the insecurity. We have the kids, I call them the children. Good evening, Uncle Ike. Welcome. Welcome. We have the insecurity going on. This case, they are in the bush, I think it's the 15th day now or 16th day. That's more than 2 weeks. And again, the president hasn't said anything. Again, the first lady, she hasn't said anything, but she was able to go to a kitty and give them 100 million naira for re-election of Oyebanjo. That is the country that we have. It's just every day you wake up. I don't know about other people. Anytime I see a phone call, I'm like, is everybody okay? Is everybody okay? I've said it so many times on this channel. It's not supposed to be like that. When people call me here, my family call me, I'm not worried about them. My cousin just called me, but I just think, I'm not worried that something is wrong. But whenever you get a call from Nigeria, you just feel like something is always something bad. Why should it be like that? Why is it that we have to be anxious every time we see a phone call from Nigeria? That is not how it's supposed to be. Our government, they have failed us. President Tinubu, everybody's seeing it now that he has to go. But let me tell you something that happened recently, just yesterday. I don't know if anybody saw that. I'm deviating a little bit, but I will come back to the insecurity. About Wike's spokesman, how he got access to the INEC portal. I don't know if anybody heard about that. That's very interesting. We are cooked. And that's why I keep saying this upcoming election, I think it has been rigged. If you follow Don Azar, he explained it very, very well. What happened? Somebody, Ike, the guy, the former actor, or maybe he's still an actor, he is trying to contest for the FCT rep, a representative in the FCT. He's from Imo State. But for some reason, I don't know how Lanre or Layinka was able to have access to the portal, INEC portal. He is one of the admin because the way the Don Azar showed it on the internet, he showed that he has access to portal. If that is true, allegedly, if that is true, that means we don't need to hold any election. If you look at Tinubu is not bothered about this upcoming election, believe you me. He is not losing his sleep about this upcoming election. What does that tell you? I don't know. I believe the election has been rigged. Because if somebody like Olayinka, who is just a spokesman to Wike, if he has access to go to INEC portal, imagine the other people around them. What does that tell you? So the result can be changed, even if you require free and fair election, even if you are saying real-time election, it still can be manipulated, it still can be changed. So I don't know what you guys think about that, but briefly to 2 minutes. Good evening, Uncle I. Thank you for joining us. Let us talk about the insecurity. I am worried. The governor of Oyo State is blaming the federal government. The federal government, they are blaming him. There was a write-up I saw yesterday where the governor saying that there is nothing he can do until he gets elected as a president. That's a very interesting, comment for him to make that. Meanwhile, I ask myself, does it mean that this case they're gonna be in the bush until you become the president? Is that what you're trying to say? So, with 2 minutes, what do you guys think? Starting from Femi.
Okay. Thank you again, Ify. Just a brief one, real quick. You see that I mentioned previously that part of the reason why I think it's a waste of time talking about elections in Nigeria, even with the so-called electronic voting system, is if I had to explain to you how these things work, it will take forever. It's a waste of time because you do not have neutral parties involved.
Yeah.
So that's why I laugh, because I understand the way this thing works. It's what I work with on a daily basis, but that's on the side. Anyway, so but to your point, we did learn earlier today that apparently Ribadu also went to Oyo State after how many weeks? We were even losing count.
Yeah.
Right. And of course, this did not start today. There's been precedents from even Buhari's time, who were not even sure. God may God forgive me, Sha, but if he was dead or alive. So not that it's any better with the person that's in power. And if Nigerians, if even my people from my stock, Yoruba people are smart enough, and a lot of people are beginning to be smart with this, because again, this is where I have a problem with not just my ethnic group, but just we black Africans generally. Typically, the narrative is when your person is in power, like we say in Yoruba, Omowani is our person. People are scared to criticize. I don't understand where this thing comes from. And I promise you, there's a lot of people that think like me as well, contrary to what some people may hold. But some people have to come to that realization. Sometimes, that's why me, I know what if exam doesn't like this, but personally, I don't care. Nigerians have not suffered enough. When Nigerians suffer well, we need to suffer well.
Yeah.
Now, but to your point, as I round up, you see, the fact that a lot of things come into play, the dynamics, even when you look at how insecurity gradually crept into Nigeria, starting from unresolved issues amongst even the ethnic groups, because sometimes it's easy to dismiss where we're coming from, even as a human being. A lot of what you become, if not all, because there's some things you can change, you can amend as you grow older. A lot of things that will become is formed right from when you're young, you're growing up, your brain cells, the neurons are developing, they're becoming adding and what have you. So right from independence, there were already unresolved issues. Even prior to then, it was almost like we just did patch alongside the British. Of course, the British had their own interest. All the way down to the first coup, the second coup, because I recall my parents talking about how at some point there was nothing like armed robbery. Of course, there were factors that contributed to that, including arms in the hands of people that should not have the arms, especially in the aftermath of the civil war. And there were already complaints, even at the height of apparently when Nigeria had the oil boom, of economic what's it called, What have you? Now, when you go into the 90s, of course, keep in mind there are other things that still has to do with ethnicity, with what's it called? Again, injustice, because so many things are always tied to injustice. And what have you? Down to when we now had the successive military coups, the 90s came with its own problem. There was SAP. That was when you started hearing about austerity. Because I know KG, you, for example, and Mr. Ike would know recession is just for a lot of us is new vocabulary. There's something people will always call the austerity in Nigeria, as an example. Or and as these things continue to accumulate, they continue to be the economic issue. Now you now throw in global warming, for example, and other crises that, apart from the ones that were unresolved, there were newer ones as well. You look at the example of the Metacynic crisis already that was already brewing in the north, and then you had what eventually resulted in that killings that happened in southern Zango Kataf in Kaduna, southern Kaduna, as an example. It didn't seem like anybody was paying attention, or people were continuing to dismiss it all the way down to the 2000s, even when we now had a return to civilian government, and then you had the Mohammed Yusuf and Boko Haram, and of course you cannot dismiss what was happening from Saudi Arabia, because like I continue to tell people think Iran is necessarily sponsoring what's it called, terrorism. There's a lot more to it, and of course you can't take away the fact that there's also the Western country, and I keep mentioning this. There's always a Western nation involvement, especially the CIA, whether we like it or not, in all of these things, down to what happened in Libya and the way arms crept into. It's a whole potpourri of things. But when it now comes to ourselves, even what is happening within Nigeria, when you go down history and down to now, we continue to dismiss these things, and it's now in the open that these people do not care. That's why you see them just more concerned about political campaigns and the Milocon Part 2. And maybe just as to round up, a couple of people said a long time ago, I remember a couple of people mentioning, not just necessarily me per se, that if we think that what was happening in the north as it crept into the middle belt before it got to Kwara, if we think that don't worry, it's just the northerners or it's just the Muslims or what have you, wait until I personally told some of my guys, wait until we start getting to the south. Maybe it is a local. Like someone famously said, I think it's KG, everybody will choke breakfast. So we are getting there. Maybe very soon it's going to get to Lagos. Maybe we like to pray. And God forbid now.
I'm glad you said that. I don't know how true this is it, but what I heard on social media, or the word on the streets of social media, is that people from Redeemed Christian Church of God wanted to protest, the Kwara, I think the Kwara branch, but they got an order from above that they shouldn't do that because the first lady is a pastor in Redeem. Therefore, they will not protest. That is the country we are in. Adeboyo's children is not there. The first lady's children is not there. None of the politicians' children are there. I just saw on the news now that starting tomorrow, the Nigerian Union of Teachers, Kwara State branch, will not go to school until those kids are back. Everybody's back. Mind you, we have lost one teacher. I don't even want to imagine the state of these kids. Imagine sleeping. God, I just don't want to talk about it. Yesterday I came here, I was so emotional, I didn't want to talk because looking at those pictures, if you are not a human being, if you don't have feelings, then you are the most wicked person on earth. If you look at those pictures, and don't cringe, to look at that child being tortured, plastic being that, oh God. Anyway, Uncle Hoik, good evening, sir. Welcome to the show. We are talking about our country as usual. What do you want to talk about? We are talking about insecurity. I don't know what you've heard so far. But let me update you with what is going on regarding the cakes in the bush. The president sent his delegates to meet with Makinde today after 2 weeks. He sent Ribado, whatever his name is, Uhuru Nibado, whatever, Bajabia Miala, and a couple of other delegates to go sit down. I don't know what they will be talking about. Are you trying to tell me? Are you trying to tell me that these people that they don't know where this cave, they don't know where this bandit? Is that what you're telling me? A whole country, a whole president, defense minister is telling us this one is the army guy. He's just telling us that Tinubu is doing well, that we have to give him another 4 years so that he will finish what he has started. That's what he said. And that's why I keep saying, are we in the military regime or are we in the civilian regime? Because there is no business why a military should be telling the citizens to give the president another 4 years. It's up to us to make that decision. It's not up to the military to tell the civilians, to vote for the president. Give us free and fair election. Let us decide who will be the next president. That's where we are, Mr. Ike. Contribute your 2 cents.
Well, happy Sunday to everybody. I think I think this year I've always had one comment about Nigeria, that anybody that says Nigeria is working, that every member of your family will chop breakfast in Nigeria. It has always been my statement since this year. Nigerian lives means nothing to the government of Nigeria anymore. If we are talking about what is going on in Oyo State, what has been going on in the north and the middle belt for how many years now? It's just, but what this one is so heart-wrenching and breaking is because of the little kids that are involved. The federal government is playing politics with Sheyi Makinde, for over 2 weeks when this thing happened. The federal government want to make him to surrender and succumb to him, Emiloko. It's politics they're playing with people's life, but Ribadu and Musa that is going to your state, the one that have been going in the middle belt and the north, what have they achieved? It's all smoke, smoke screen, gather press men, Arise Television and Channel and TV, NTA, and all this useless, stream media television. They will carry their camera and film, and they will be the talk of the town in the news for the whole week. What solution does he bring? Does he bring any solution? No. Right, that your defense minister was campaigning. You listen to his interview. He was making campaign. He was speaking. He was using a campaign, campaign message, campaigning why you are going to about Nigerian life that has been kept in the desert or in the bush for almost 2 weeks. But he's making campaign for the man in Asorok who doesn't even care that you exist. That's the country we are. That's the country we have. And for anybody who think that it doesn't concern me, it's almost reaching everybody. I've been saying this in this year. It's going to reach everybody. People who come here to play politics because, like Femi said, Emiloko, if you say anything, most people now from the West, if you say anything about the man in Asorok, it's like they're going to eat you alive. But right now, go to Nigeria, look at Nigeria, go to the social media street, like as you said. It's people from the West that are crying more. That the people that are suffering more than the people from my place, because that's a fact. The most Yorubas are suffering. They are the people that are crying more than any other person. And in the midst of them, there are people, when you speak about what this man is doing, they will come after you. You know, like Femi said, why should you speak against the man in Asorok? You shouldn't speak against the man. Is our man. So why do we speak? Sunday, he didn't hear what he said when he went to declare the APC. He said no political party will come to the southwest to campaign. That's the Nigeria with the man who was the freedom fighter yesterday. He has become a politician and he's beginning to sing a new song, right? Now he's saying that no political party will come to the southwest to do campaign. That's the people you have. And now he said he has a security network. That he went to the man in Asorok, he gave him license to have security, to organize, they have a security organization. They are asking people to come and join. That's the country that has failed. And until when people really accept that this country has failed, and you see, it's because people like us are the people who are giving energy to these people in our sorrow. Because most of us in diaspora, most of us in all these networks around the internet, if you call social media, is it what they call the street or whatever you call it? Most of us are eating from the crumbs of the government there. So that's why they go to many platforms. When you listen to so many platforms in Nigerians what are talking about this government, you will begin to ask yourself a question. These people, do they have anybody that is living in Nigeria that they can call family? Sheilo and the people of his calibers, their children are the family live in London. But he's in Nigeria wearing the man in Asorok cap. He's telling you that the government is okay. The government is working. Don't worry, it's going to be better. These are the people that by the time Nigeria will get to a point, they are the people that Nigerians will be looking after, the one after the other. Because it's not that we don't know these people. They are among us. They live among us. They are our neighbors. They are our colleagues. They are our friends. We know them. We know what they represent. Like my brother Femi said, Nigeria has not suffered a lot. But until that day when you get that breaking point, all these people who are claiming that the government is good and Nigeria is working for them, Nigerians will come after them one after the other. There will be no time for your private day to move anywhere, because that's where we are going to block first. The whole those 8 streets where they park their private jet, that's where we are going to start first, so that everybody will be in Nigeria and everybody will suffer what is going to come upon that country called Nigeria, unless Nigerians make a complete U-turn and reverse and agree that we have lost it and that this man will never ever come back at the head of government of Nigeria. Because if this 3 years is like this, I'm sorry for people who think all of us that are outside are suffering more than the people in Nigeria. I must tell you, if he just said here, the moment there is a call or you have a message on your WhatsApp from Nigeria, the first thing your mind is going to skip, because you don't know what that message. It wasn't like this before. That you get a call from Nigeria before, it's like you are home. It's like you're talking. It's like you are home already. But this time around, you don't. If you're in office working, you don't even want to pick that call, because you don't know that message, what the message is going to tell you, that is going to distract you for the entire day of that day. Like my brother Femi, who is in an IT, there are certain calls that will come from Nigeria that you don't want to pick or message, because you don't know what that message is, what that message is going to do to you that particular day. That's the country we live in. So I just pray. A woman carries a child for 9 months and delivers that child. And all of a sudden, those little kids are in the bush for almost 16 days. And no news from anybody. The government in Nigeria is not doing anything because there is political tussle between Sheyi Makinde and the man in Asorok. And now they send these people. What are they going to do? You know, we have lost a teacher already. But I just pray that God will save this life of these little children who doesn't have anything. They have not committed any offense. They just went to school. They went to school to study. They are not part of this government. The government doesn't represent them. So I just pray, you know, it's heart-wrenching when you look at that and see what these monsters that are in the bush are doing with these little kids. I just pray that something will be done, you know, so that we can at least rescue. And when a man is crying to the governor of Oyo State, can you tell these people to take me and release my wife and my son and my child for me? Let them take me and let my wife and my kid come back home. That's the state we are.
Uncle Ike, I don't think anybody is talking about the long-term effect of what this is going to do on these people. Of course, I don't think they will be offered a therapy, you know, because this case, it's a trauma. This is what they have to live with the rest of their lives, even the adults. Nobody's going to talk about the nightmares. Nobody's going to talk about the flashbacks, what they're going to experience. And this is going to be the rest of their life. This anniversary of this incident is going to come. People will talk about this until forever. How are they going to get through this? It's going to be difficult. What is the federal government doing? What is the state government doing? Like you said, they are playing politics with the lives of these children. But guess what? I'm not going to say God forbid. If anything happens to these kids, we're going to move on as if nothing happened. Because we are immune to this bad system with what is happening in Nigeria. Nothing will happen. We talk about it 1 week and we are gone. This is everyday life, every day. If you follow English Alaji, you can see he posts these videos on a daily basis. People are buying. The federal government is not talking about it. I will swear that anybody can convince me that the federal government is not aware of what is happening. They cannot tell me that they don't know where these kids are. And the president hasn't said anything though, but they were able to go to Ojuba or whatever festival. They were there celebrating.
Sister Ify, they tracked Justice Crack. They tracked his phone.
Yeah.
Femi that is in IT can tell us more better. Is in technology. They tracked him, his phone.
They know Gumi told us
They
that.
jammed his phone. They know where he was, and they were able to get him where they know that he was.
Uncle Ike.
My question is, how is it possible that these people don't tell me that they don't know where these people are in the bush?
Do. They know. They can track them down. But again, there are some things we don't know. But the rumor has it that there are people. If you remember, that was the same thing that happened during Buhari's time. That there are people that own the country, that the people in the government that really, really are the ones supporting these bandits. Anyway, we can't even talk about it. Ovie, what do you have to say? Your 2 cents.
2 cents on kidnapping.
Yeah, insecurity.
I think for me, insecurity at that level, now only the president will feel know what is going on, because those kind of mass adoption maybe is not being carried out by ordinary hungry Nigerian youth or people who are. These are state orchestrated movement, because it requires a lot of logistics to carry those many children, and it's not their first time. They do during Goodluck Jonathan, throughout during Buhari time. So this is a higher level of politicking. I don't know what they ask for, either contract, either policy, whatever at that level. I think at this point, it's only the presidency that can actually, now him that they talk to direct. So it's unfortunate that this is where we are, and it will continue. So what it means is that tomorrow, if an Igbo man be president, you could hear that he kidnapped student for Southeast. It started from during Buhari time, Dapchi girls. Remember Dapchi girls now. So I think they're also working our own emotions too. We hear them, it's like it's normal. 40 students. Last year is is normal. But if you actually look at it from the sense of it, from the logistics point of view, how difficult it is to move mass amount of people for inside vehicle, they travel come out for nobody saying our roads are first class. So the government nowhere, the presidency, especially I'm putting it to the presidency to himself, nowhere what is going on. So now only him go feel respond. And so for me, over time, I know all this country, I know they react to them again because if the man who is sit at the aim of affair know exactly what is going on, what they're asking for, what they want, and the guys see they fly around, see they carry a daily basis. Why me? I go there. So it's just unfortunate. This is where we are. But I think most importantly too, we need to understand that Nigeria is still a colony, and it's a free for all the other empires. Anything they ask for, if I look for contract for presidency or whatever, I know I permit to harm boys. May then go display somewhere where the president go physically come and so that's exactly what is happening. I know they rule out the international arms from every nooks and corner. So unfortunately at this point Nigeria is an open field. And it is like that because all our leaders, in an attempt to fight for power, they put their hands into it they're not supposed to put their hands into. They're all compromised. So
yeah, sorry for cutting you off. I don't know if you saw the news. There was a news that I saw on social media that the federal government, this is so funny, they've recruited 1,000 what I call the National Guard to go to the bush.
Forest guards.
Forest guards. And
Yeah.
my question, and I'm like, so that's just for one state. What about other states? Does this even make sense?
you go continue now. I think that has been on the policy agenda before. I don't know nobody succeeded. They wanted to create a national forest guard. So I don't know nobody succeeded in doing that, but this is just there's no because I said they don't get that's just one solution for everything because as I said, the country is open. It's open for business.
Yeah,
so
we
now
don't even have border. Do we have border security? We don't have border. Anybody can
so,
just,
now foreign customers. If you go read about the 100 years of humiliation about the Chinese people, this is exactly what happened. Where they begin, the British people begin pushing drugs, opiums, and the Americans join, the Dutch people join. Everybody just they were around there for 100 years. That's why they tag that period, the 100 years of humiliation. This is exactly because what Nigeria is going through is humiliation. They are just humiliating us based on our leaders. Anybody we want something at the federal level or we want to do the federal government no good, they move. And to arrange boys now, fortify them, send them enter one place, make them go show themselves. You will get attention. So it's unfortunately that I think history will look back to our era and it will classify us like that. We are just being in this humiliation, especially to the man himself who is there. So I don't know. The way to go out to be out of it, I don't know because it's as if every sector, everybody for the colony is entrenched in that. Everybody. There's no one group of person or one leader where they reason outside this framework. All of them. So that makes you think they come. Charlie boys our Mumu don't do it.
I'm not sure that Omu don't start. Let's say they just they do warm up because I don't see us getting out of this conundrum in my lifetime.
I don't think.
And I still get like 50. I still get like 50 years to live.
Yeah.
So I don't see us.
Ovie, thank you, KJ. Over to you. What do you think about the insecurity going on in Nigeria? I think all of us, we are helpless. We are just sitting down waiting for them to do something because I don't think anybody have anything to do. So what do you think?
Is there insecurity in Nigeria? Is there security? Are you sure there's insecurity? There's no security in Nigeria. Have you seen the presidency doing anything? The military, where are they?
I know.
Where are they? Majority of the military are in the southeast. Is there security in the southeast? So these are the things. Don't we know where these things are coming from? And we say we don't know where they are. They can go to Lagos to go and arrest a guy who made a comment on the social media. They can trace him down to Lagos, go and arrest him. The other one who made a statement and ran to Port Harcourt, they went to his community to go and arrest him. Well, how were they able to fish them out? And they cannot fish those people who are calling for weeks and months, making argument for ransom. They can't pick them. Somebody says that the phone they're using is to connect to orbit. Doesn't it need when the phone they're using is connecting to orbit? When it connects to the orbit, how does the people they are talking to, does their phone also connect to orbit? It's not through MTN or one of those local telephone companies. Does it mean that those companies don't have their number? Because you can't tell me that it is it's terrestrial, because terrestrial, so it's not going to connect. If you buy a DSTV, your DSTV must connect to a particular orbit for you to be able to see the film. You can't buy a DSTV box and keep it to your house and then it will just automatically be showing you DSTV channels. So I don't know if you guys are getting what I'm saying. So whichever way you put it, the phones, the cell phones they are using in those localities or those middle of nowhere must have to connect to a Nigerian company to get a Nigerian number. It's not a witchcraft. It is not flying at night. So both the government and the governed know what is going on. I have never in my lifetime, in a country where there's no war, seen this kind of carnage, and the government of the day keeps quiet. They continue their normal activity as if nothing is even happening. They continue their local transactions, and the people are not revolting. They're not worried. In a community where there are 20 of them, 5 are taking, the other 5 are waiting for their turn. They say, it is God that give, it's God that take. If God didn't approve it, it won't happen. Let me tell you, I also one time, very long time ago, used to think like that until I read a scripture in the Bible that's a new standard, a new NIV, and it says what? I will read it clearly. It says, fools kill themselves and they turn around and blame God. So it's not everybody who dies is dying because God wants you to die at that time, or the person to die at that time. People who do not take care lose their life and they turn around and blame God for it. That's what's happening in Nigeria. They are all sitting and hoping that God will send Jesus Christ or Angel Michael to come and rescue them. He's not going to send him. He's not going to send any angel. He has already sent enough angels to people. People refuse to do what they're supposed to do. So I do not see it as a look. We let's face the fact. We can't all say we are helpless and every day this is perpetuating itself. They are coming down. Before they used to be in Sokoto, now they are in Kwara, now they are in Ibadan. Nothing is happening. Before they used to be Maiduguri, now they are in Taraba, they are in Plateau, they are in Benue, they are in Kogi, they are in heading towards the east now. We are saying nothing. We are still going to fast and pray. Okay? There's a scripture in Isaiah, in Isaiah, yeah. that God instructed his own people that you hold a Bible in your right hand, your left hand, and hold your sword in the other hand. In other words, whilst you are doing that, you are also defending yourself. If we refuse to do that, go and write it somewhere. Just like Femi said, this thing, or Pablo, this thing may not end today. We will still see it and we will leave it. This is how countries are destroyed. Because people who are more interested in their personal pockets take over those countries and run them down. Now, while this is going on, they are getting richer. A certain bank in Nigeria declared 3 trillion naira profit in this same locality where people are dying, where people don't even have work, where Yahoo have become an order of the day. They are declaring what? They are still making gain, and nobody's asking a question. So, my sister, which one will talk? Which one will talk? Listen. Shore, who I love very much, carry Doris Ogale, go to put for Abia State to unseat Oti. So you can see how the country is turned upside down. This same Doris Ogale, who have been talking about some illicit things in the internet for the last 6 months, is one now who is going to contest under Shore's party as governorship candidate in Abia State. Are we okay? So that's the only person Shore can find. Of all this is criticism of Peter Obi, it is Doris Ogale that he can bring. If he even brought Genevieve, I will be satisfied. Or Motala, I will say okay. If he even brought Stephen Okeke, I will say at least this one's we know what this guy. And we say we are moving forward.
I saw that. I was just like, anyway, I didn't even take them serious. I was just like,
so now if Shore, where we're all been fighting for, talking about how he have been consistent, can do this kind of mistake, what else is left now? So where are we going? So which right?
It's not different from them, though. It's not different.
You see, so we ask the same thing we're talking about. In a nation where we have 230 million people, one man sat in his office, gave out a contract for 15 trillion naira, more than half of the Nigerian budget. Nobody said anything. Nobody went to court. Then the same man, before 1 year, gave another same contract to that same person for 13 trillion naira. Nobody said anything. Nobody said. Then the same man gave another construction company work, building of the seaport to the same individual. Nobody said anything. So what are we supposed to be saying? You see, I'm losing interest in discussing Nigeria. I'd rather just be discussing other things that make sense. Maybe I'll go into discussing herbs, how you can take herbs now, local herbs, and how it can help you build your body. Because what are we doing? It's not that I ask myself, are we okay? Nobody. Did you see the picture that the woman had been slaughtered by the people, the slaughterers that are running amok in Nigeria, and had less than 2 years old child was tied behind her back still. Only God knows how long that child was there crying. We don't even know the person who made the video, whether it is the Fulani that came back or it was the people that survived that came back to meet the child behind the mother's back crying and missed other, corpses. Tell me the kind of, this boy is not yet 2, or girl, whoever the child is already going through trauma because he's a Nigerian.
Let me.
And then when they want to curse you, we will say, we could not agree, say we are monkeys. It's a zoo. We're in a zoo. That's the only way this kind of thing it happens. It's a zoo. Period. Sorry to have taken your time, Darren.
No. I mean, I know we are so passionate about our country. I mean, with what you're saying, I was talking to one of my friends who has the history of high blood pressure. And she is amlodipine. And I told her, I said, are you taking your medicine? And guess what she told me? This was shocking. She said, I only take it when my blood pressure is high. I said, why? You're supposed to take this medication every day. And she said, if I take it every day, the medication is going to finish now. If you finish, where will I get money to buy another one? So now she's considering taking her medication every day. I said, it defeats the purpose. The medication is for you to take every day. You don't have to take it only when your blood pressure is high. This is somebody who is a teacher in a government school. She's not even making anything. And you ask yourself, from that salary, that's where she's going to buy the medication she takes every day. That's where she's going to pay her rent. That's where she's going to raise 3 kids. That's where she's going to buy food. I mean, how? How is it even possible? So now she's, looking at it. I'm going to just take it when it's high so that I will still have money to buy food, to pay rent, to do other stuff. That is the country where we are. And I explained to her that if you don't take your medication every day, you might stroke out one day. That's why people all of a sudden, boom, they are gone. Blood pressure is not a joke. Anyway, I don't know if you have any other topic to talk about. It's already late, 9:30. I know some of us will go to work tomorrow. It's my pleasure. Thank you, KJ, for letting me sit in for you today.
So you go ahead and sign us off.
Oh, I don't have access. I don't know if anybody.
You close, I'll sign you off.
Okay. Femi, we can use 1 minute to round up, and we're going to start our week tomorrow. Anything you want to say? 1 more minute to round up.
No. But I believe, KJ, you now understand why sometimes it's not because we don't care, but some of us, we were accused of being interested in talking about geopolitics in Nigeria because I cannot save Nigeria. I'm not Jesus Christ.
Okay, very interesting. Uncle Ike, I know you came in late. Anything you want to say so that we can round up?
Just to say that we should not stop talking. Let us not get tired of talking. Our talking is effective and it's working. The world are hearing us. Everything we say here every day is a living evidence that we did not keep quiet when all those things were happening. Because if an honest man keeps quiet while things are getting wrong, automatically you are part of the problem. So I think no matter how frustrating it is, no matter how tiring as it is, no matter how painful as it is, whenever we have the strength, we will keep talking and keep, doing what we can do to see that Nigeria survives. Because, for example, if anything happens now, for example, it's not going to affect me or my kids, but I have my family, I have my brothers and sisters back home, and I have my friends, I have my schoolmates. That is going to affect them. And no matter how your heart is so hard as a stone, by the time you hear a bad news 2, 3, 4 places, that heart will be broken. So, and for the fact that, as I said, that we are suffering it more is because that every day or every month, at the end of every month, each and every one of us know how much that goes away from our little money that we make over here after you pay your taxes and everything. It's not like when they pay your salary, you have to tell them, don't take away my tax before even you reach your account, everything has gone. And whatever that is left from that, your money, you still have to consider the people that maybe have been crying for the past 1 month. and you are trying to say, give me space, let me see what I can do, if I can help, So it's affecting, mentally, it's affecting us here, financially, materially. It's a heavy load. It's a heavy load, my sister. I have to be honest with you. It is a heavy load because and Igbo, we are Igbos, I never want the too much. You can't run away from it. It's part of us. It's difficult for you to say, I'm going to, listen, it doesn't concern me. We are not born like that. It's not, our heart, we believe in family. We believe in our family. We believe in family growing together, We believe that when somebody is crying in a family, everybody is crying. And when one person is happy, everybody is happy. That's our culture. That's our tribe. We were born. I came out of this life and I grew up as an Igbo man, and I saw that is what it is. And it's difficult for you to say, I'm going to turn my back on it, even though there are many economists, financial experts who will advise you that's the best way you can be able to do to survive and become what you want to become. But how is it? It's difficult. So my prayer for Nigeria, my country, is that things will get better for all of us. You are in the medical field. You are talking about somebody who is suffering about high blood pressure, who's trying to reduce the quantity of the medication that she's supposed to be taking every day. You can imagine she's not even thinking about the consequences of, if I don't take this medication for 1 day or 2 days, what will be the implication? What she's more concerned about, where will the money come from to buy another one?
Yeah.
You see the situation. So in the process of crying where the money is going to come from, it might end up getting worse because you refuse to take your medication. And by that money that you were trying to look for to get that medication, now you got to look for that money ×3 or ×4 in order to save the same life. You see to it right now. So my brothers and sisters, we are not going to give up. It doesn't matter whatever these evil men and women are doing in Nigeria. We are going to triumph, because evil would never prevail over good. It will only take time. And when that time comes, there is nothing that is going to stop it. And I believe that, like as you said, after 2023, I gave up Nigeria and I gave up everything. But after 6 months, I came back. I said, no, I should not. Rather, I should get more involved. And that's why I get more involved right now. That I want to say at the end of the day that even though I was playing my part in a way, not being involved, but right now I am playing my part, being involved. So that at the end of the day that God will call me, I believe that I've done my best. I go and sleep in peace, and I leave the word for the people that are living. Because if I get angry about 2023 and I allow things to continue to go on, at the end of the day, who is suffering? Me and you. Doesn't matter how happy I am where I'm staying. Still, your family back home is part of the load you're carrying on your shoulder. God bless you. I wish everybody the best of the new week. Keep safe.
Thank you. Thank you. Ovie, do you have something to say? No, we
Yes,
good?
I get too short, Simon. The first one to my 2.5 million disciples. Stay focused. Don't forget, Tinubu is our ticket to coming back 2028. Tinubu must win for Monday Pablo to return. So that's the focus. So there's no. Then my last one is what Per Ike touched on. For me, I'm not actually the worry about Nigeria per se, especially us that live outside Nigeria, for instance. Pa Ike touch on how family used to be, well, help each and one another, belongs to a family, the community, and all that. Even though if I look back to where me I they come from, I can see that setting, but it's more like a old story now. As I hear and they talk, and because what the bad thing that happened to that story, where that story of family oneness together will continue, is the fact that they send us go school. So they refuse the school where they send us go. They don't teach us communism, family, how to help each other to stay together. They teach us individualism. Go there and carry first. Make sure you are the best among your mates. Make sure even though your brother did beat them, why you know carry first. Now they have succeeded in educating bunch of maybe 3 to 4 generation of first carry capitalism for us. But guess what? They have gone ahead to introduce what? Autonomous and AI. Within the next 10 years, more than 50% of the cars on the road will be autonomous. Nobody will drive them. Think about that. Most of the corporate job will be overtaken by AI. We are still here. What is going to happen to us? I am more worried about what is to come than what is happening to Nigeria. I rest my case.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. And thank you to Dr. Rudolph Okonkwo. KJ, thank you for giving me this opportunity to, to anchor this, how many minutes, almost 4-hour show. And thank you, Adama, for your support and everybody who joined us. And good night. And we will see again on Saturday this week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ify. Thank you so much. Yeah, we want to also thank the TO. Thank you so much, _8, for your contribution. We really appreciate you. And every other person who has been on with us, every other person that was on the keyboard. If he had done such a marvelous job, and so I owe you a bottle of Martina.
No, palm wine.
Oh, okay, yes. Here there's palm wine somewhere in Maryland here.
No, that one is fake. It's not fresh. It's not a fresh. It's not a real fresh palm wine. They get early in the morning in the village.
Okay.
They jabate fresh one. You drink it.
By the grace of God, when Nigeria better, we'll go drink that one. All right, thank you so much.
Good night, everybody. Thank you, Uncle Ike.
So
bye.
Thank you so much. Mr. Pastor Ike, thank you so much also for coming. I really appreciate it when you come to give your word of wisdom. We will say as much as we can say. We cannot run away, And somebody was saying here that why am I talking about Shore? I didn't say Shore brought Doris Ogala. Doris Ogala was giving the opposition, was giving the governorship ticket for Abia State. So the question is, how do you want Abia people to vote for Doris Ogala in the place of Oti? I would rather that they've not filled any candidate than to fill the lady. And I have no, prejudice against her. But I just think that it's like, you cannot take a lightweight and go and box a heavyweight. It's not done that way, even in boxing. So that's what I think. I'm not criticizing Shore, don't please. And then don't ask me why am I not criticizing Obi. We have talked about Obi here. Obi is the only one of the few presidential candidates that have come here many times. And people asking questions. So you guys stop this thing. Everything must not be seen in one shade or the other. If someone is making an honest decision, don't turn it and make it tribal or make it, any other thing beyond what the person is saying. Some of us don't have their time for being tribal. I have come here to fight for almost every part of Nigeria. I fought for my friends in the north. I fought for people in the south. I fought for people in the east. So let's leave this thing, I beg. We have been doing all this in Nigeria, still where it is and not changed. They have not moved. The tribe, we have been fighting this tribe since 1945. Some people think that the Igbo started complaining today. No. If you want to know the real genesis, You know, and Yankase is one of the northern elders, well respected. He said he granted an interview where he said it was the fear of the Igbos that made them to go to the war. It's not because there was anything. They started, you know, massacring people in the north before the advent of the 1966 coup. So let's not go there. Those of you who don't care to read history, when you come, just come with your biro. When we are talking, we're taking note. When we finish, you go and check it out, whether what we have said is correct or not. Okay? We will say those things. And like I said, somebody mistook me and said something about the Nigerian people, the Nigerian society, or the Nigerian press have been talking about writing the stories of the Civil War and writing it the way they want. We didn't have an opportunity to tell our own story, and that's what I mean. But now we're telling our own story, and you guys are not happy about it. So should we leave people to be the one telling our story? And you have told it to this point since 1960. Have been telling our story to this time. What is wrong if we begin to tell our own story? And we tell it with our mouths open, whether people like it or not. We won't relent. In fact, I'm planning to hold another Biafra, just specifically to discuss Biafra and the aftermath of what happened, so that those people who didn't see the picture of why we are so concerned, we see the picture now. I've asked some of my relatives to send me pictures of some of the communities that was ravaged by war, and then you see what we're talking about. It's not that easy. If you guys don't want to talk about Biafra, hold that reconciliatory committee and let them now go ahead and ask for forgiveness and pay us reparation. Those people who were already millionaires at that time and all their monies were taken away and given £20. Give them, find a way to settle them. You know, my late father said there was nothing like Onyohi in the East until after the war. That was when they now have to coin a language, Ojiebaga, person who goes with a gun to go and rob. It wasn't there before. You know, this wasn't there. So there are many vices if we decide to trace how the Igbo community became what it became today, that can be traced only back to the days of the Civil War. You know, but when we're talking about it, some people feel, you know, we have not asked people not to talk about the story of Metaseni in the north. If you bring it here, we'll talk about it. We have not asked you not to talk about it. So please, when I don't want to talk my story, make gonna leave us talk our own story. On that faithful note, I say thank you so much, Mr. Ike, and thank you, Pastor, and every other person who have contributed, and Masker and the rest. Everybody who come here, we appreciate you. But know that everybody's conversation here is your own opinion. Is a person's opinion. You can't stop a person from having an opinion on the issue that is so personal to the person. That is how the world is. So God, who created us, even gave us our opinion, say we can follow him or decide to follow our own. And many of you on this channel follow your own. God has never stopped you from talking. You know, some of you even go ahead to criticize him. We're gonna leave us, not to talk our story. Because, thank you so much. On behalf of
it is well, my brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. We really appreciate everybody. Like I always say, it's not easy to spend your time with somebody, because this time we have spent together now, it's been written off in history. It's not going to be repeated. And so we appreciate you all. You know, thank you, and have a good night.
Yeah, good night.